Well, there goes the day. Daverhood. Good morning, everybody. I am just fine. Look how red my face is. Wow. Usually I look so pale. Now I'm like beet red. But excited and delighted to be here with you with the 776th episode of the long-running Facebookio, Podcastio, Programmio of the stream. It's called Dave's Gone By. With me, Dave Lefkowitz, my darling and adorable wife, Joyce, plus Potato is here. This is a very, very strange time, a very, shall we say, bittersweet time for Potato. Because, of course, we're in the middle of Hanukkah, the Jewish holiday of Hanukkah. Oh, yeah. Cry it out, Potato, cry it out. So, as much as he loves festivals, there's oh, you can't really see the whole shirt here, but the whole keep calm and eat latkes thing is a little much for him to take this time of year. All his friends, his cousins, essentially it's like a Soylent Green thing. They take the older potatoes who aren't much longer for this world and they create potato pancakes out of them. It's the slaughter of the innocents. I know, Potato, but they die so we can live. Well, this is my morning throat. This is because I am Jewish, because it is Hanukkah. This is my special holiday phlegm that I am bringing up just for you at home. You won't see Jimmy Kimmel do this. You won't see or won't have seen Letterman or Leno or Wendy Williams do this. Only here can you hear me start a show with the phlegm still stuck in my throat and getting up to the point where I'm gonna go like,
David Jim Knable?
Knable, K-N-A-B-L. Jim, yes. So I've given you my morning phlegm. Now, since I brought that up, let me bring something else up that I've wanted to talk about for the last couple of weeks on this show. What is it? And I know a lot of times I denigrate, New York, as opposed to Colorado, where Joyce and I were living for a few years. I really liked it in Colorado. There's things New York has that Colorado doesn't, and vice versa. There's things in Colorado that I love that I miss terribly in New York. But there's one thing, and it's been especially recent over the past few weeks, and I don't know if you guys have noticed this at home. We've got people watching all over the country, I think all over the world, this show. But there's, if you're in this area, let me know if you're having the same issue that I am with spoilage. And I don't mean that I'm a 56-year-old man going to turn 57 in January, so parts of me are starting to spoil. I'm saying in terms of food stuffs, the dairy and the wheat things, because more and more I've noticed that I will buy, milk and such, but mostly milk from the local supermarket. And yes, it's Dave complaining. Back in the old days, you would have milk, you would buy milk, and then if it got near or past the warning date, the sell-by date on a bottle of milk, you would know, you open it and you sniff it. And if it started to smell stinky, if it started to smell like you were making your own yogurt, not good. It's curdling, it's a little sour, blah. Fine. I grew up with this for 50 years. This is the way that you're told. You open the milk before you pour it in anything. I'm a sniffer. My wife will confirm this. I will sniff anything before it goes into my mouth. I'm not going to go there. But any kind of food. If I ate it yesterday and it was fine, I'm still going to go like, is it still okay? Yeah, it's still okay. The nose test, first thing that happens. So the nose test always with a bottle of milk, even if I just bought it the day before. And the sell-by date is 2 weeks later. The nose test, smells good, goes in the coffee. And sometimes, or occasionally, if you were around the sell-by date or a day or two after, it was still okay, but you might get like a tiny bit of kernel in the milk as you're stirring it around your coffee, which is what I mainly use milk for. So fine. But in the past few weeks that we've been living out on Long Island, there's been this thing with milk where sometimes it's not even at the sell-by date, where I'll open it up, right? Oh, I'm doing this off camera. I don't know why I just did that off camera, but I opened this before. And I give a sniff, and it smells okay. Doesn't smell too bad. But there was something about this bottle of milk where it was swollen a little bit. It was kind of like, boom, 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 boom. I'm like, well, that doesn't look so nice. And it's not quite as swollen now because I poured some milk out of it. But
what happened? Milk gases?
I don't know. Milk
gases?
If milk has like a pastrami sandwich and cabbage the night before, it's just gonna, you're gonna know what's gonna happen with that. But here's the deal. So I sniff it, and then I look into it because I'm getting used to this now. And I start to see that, milk is a liquid, or should be, unless it's buttermilk, where it's half the other.
It's making yogurt?
It's clumping.
It's yogurt.
What the hell? Why?
Because it has some kind of, milk becomes yogurt if it must have been left out and got warm.
But nobody left this milk. This was an unopened milk that was basically from the supermarket to the car in the middle of late autumn, almost winter.
No, you don't know what happened before it got to you, baby.
Well, that's what I was thinking about, because this has happened now frequently and repeatedly.
We have produce here.
We do. Well, that's the thing.
What the heck were you?
I'm wondering if it on the trucks going to our supermarket, did it stop on the highway somewhere in a warm day in Arizona where they're trying, not that they're growing milk, some cattle country like Wisconsin, and did they take a little break in Georgia on the way to New York, and they turned off the air conditioner for like 12 hours, got back in the truck, flipped the AC on, didn't think of it, and then brought the milk in, brought the produce, so look at, so you start to see, I'm going to do this for you on camera, so you can see what I see and why this sometimes makes me never want to drink milk again. So it's going to look, let's see if we can clump it. Look at this, it's literally pouring like cottage cheese. It just looks like milk on camera, I'm sorry. But if you look at the lumpiness of this milk, and what has happened sometimes, it actually smells okay. Maybe I'll drink this. No, maybe not. But if you get down to the bottom, that's the worst. And this has happened when I've had the milk, and I'll keep some milk at work in a fridge that we have there, and I'll get down towards sort of the bottom of it, and I'll have it the day before, and it will be absolutely fine. And there's maybe this much milk left in the container. And then the next morning, I'll give a sniff, it's okay. I'll start making the coffee, and I'll pour, and like a clot of milk falls into the coffee. And I'm like, yes. Has this happened to you? And has it been happening to you more recently? Have you been getting milk clots? Because the thing is, if you stir it up, it's still, you're not going to, in fact, doesn't milk turn into penicillin, or is that just bread?
Mold.
Yeah, well, bread gets mold. Milk just turns to yogurt.
Maybe I put milk plus heat equals yogurt. I asked people. I don't know. I think so. Yogurt or cheese, maybe.
But it comes to think, since it's pasteurized, and since there's so many antibiotics in milk, if you drink it, are you actually getting healthier milk because it's clumping into yogurt?
You could. I would not do it, honey, because you don't really have. Well, we have a good health plan, so you could do it.
I know, but
we have health coverage.
But is it actually healthier for it? Because now it's getting all those good bacteria into your body. So maybe you should just buy milk, fresh milk, let it clump. It's cheaper than yogurt. And then you eat the clumps, and you live like Bagua Tapagua, that 115-year-old Russia who made his mother very happy. Remember that commercial? You don't think so?
I don't know.
This is happening with the milk. It's happening, I get a bag of clementines, those little cutie oranges. And within a day, one of them is covered with blue fuzz.
I don't get it. Like, in Colorado, I guess we have just better farm produce.
Yeah, well, that's my thinking is we did used to live in northern Colorado, a couple of miles down from dairies and farmhouses. We would have a farmer's market all spring and summers long. And really, the farmers bring their produce to this market in the middle of town. If we wanted to, we could drive there in 15 minutes. I mean, it's that, as opposed to the whole New York thing of, well, where's this fruit coming? They're shipping it from Florida. It's going from here to here to here. 5 days later, we get it in New York. Well, 5 days in the life of an orange is coming from California or Florida, as opposed to 2 hours in the life of an apple. If they're picking it locally in Colorado, I guess it does make a difference. But I'm so freaking tired. I buy a bag of, especially the lemons and the oranges.
It could be the one store we buy from. When I buy from Wild by Nature, it stays fresh. My apples are perfect. I think it could be.
That could be. I mean, yeah. I am wondering about the refrigeration and transport of our local store, because I bought what did I buy? Like pita bread in a bag for lunch. There's like 5 or 6 pita breads in a bag. I keep them in the office for lunch, and so yes, on a Friday afternoon, I used one, still closed up the bag, come back on Monday, look at them for lunch, and like the top one has green growing on it.
Yeah, I bet maybe the root is the epidemiological investigation. The root is the store.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be shocked. But it's not. That's the thing. It's not just the milk. It's the produce and the.
It's everything.
Yeah. And if it had just happened for 1 week, I would have figured, okay, they got a bad shipment. Something went down. Yeah. Something got unrefrigerated for a few hours. But this is happening over and over, which sucks because it's the nearest and most convenient store. And I don't particularly like the other store that's another like third of a mile away. So it sucks, but I'm just getting a little bit tired. I mean, this milk is December 9th, right? I opened it this morning. Today's only the 12th. I mean, okay, 3 days after the sell-by. This is like a drink-by date. It's a sell-by date. And yet, I open this up. I'll try it one more time. I'm going to see if you can watch. This is Dave, a little segment we like to call Look for the Clumps. And now it looks like normal milk. You probably have to get down to the very bottom. Maybe I'll spill most of it in the toilet and come back so we can see the very bottom of it. And it still smells fine. I don't know. Anywho, let me go. But here, maybe I'll show you this. This is what I'm sort of talking about. If you look at the lid, if you look at the rim, and I know you do enjoy rimming, see that milk shouldn't be doing that yet. Milk is turning into those little curdly cottage cheesy things. And please notice, by the way, I keep my fingernails nice and clean and trim for this program. I wouldn't do it for any other reason, but for you guys, my fans, my viewers of Dave's Gone By, I do it for you. We do this show. It is our 776th episode here live on this Saturday morning, December 12th, 2020. So yeah, from 9 until noon every Saturday morning right here on Facebook, we do this. I banter, but plus we have a whole bunch of segments. There's other things we do rather than me complain, about milk. For example, on this episode of the show, we will have, of course, we will have Greeley Crimes and Old Times. This is where we go to where Joyce and I were living in northern Colorado, Greeley, Colorado. This is their local newspaper. They've got a couple of columns in there all about phone calls coming into the police department and stories that were in the paper there 100 years ago. We mix them together. We call those Greeley Crimes and Old Times. We will also have, oh my goodness, it's been weeks and weeks since this happened, but since it is Hanukkah, Potato, are you ready for some potato news? No, he's happy.
He's mad.
Why is Potato mad?
Potato pancakes.
Yeah, we dealt with a lot getting, but Potato, I'm saying to take your mind off. Gee, he is mad. Oh, well, thank you, Potato. I am glad you like this shirt. And he's still on his keep calm, eat latkes thing.
Look how festive your whole environment
Yeah, right. It's fantastic. It's a holiday, and I'm a holiday. So yes, we will have potato news. So it's I don't think we're going to be mentioning potato pancakes at all. So you can calm down. You can rest yourself, Patata. What else on the Dave's Gone By show? Oh yeah. Pookie. Oh, do you want to explain the reference to that, dear?
You do it, honey.
No, you. I'll do it. We didn't realize that. How did I miss this? I have no idea. But just before the turn of the century, there was a TV program on Fox. And Fox was trying all sorts of stuff. God bless them for that. I mean, forget Fox News, but Fox Entertainment has been really great and important over the past 20, 30 years. So they had a block of out there programming specifically for
Out
kids.
there.
Well, yeah, of programming that wasn't going to be little silly Saturday morning. Well, it kind of was, but fun Saturday morning stuff. And except they had it on prime time for kids' time. And they had a show, Fox TV did, for one season only, called the Mr. Potato Head Show. Uh-oh. He's my rival. I'll cut him. I know. These are not potato heads. You can see they're very different. Yes, he did. This is a knockoff, a cheap Wuhan-made knockoff of the Mr. Potato Head style, but there's professional rivalry. We won't go there. But they did, I guess, an authorized licensed show called the Mr. Potato Head Show. It was done in, I guess it was not even claymation. What would you call it? It was puppet animation.
Like the Muppets. It was kind of like a Muppet takeoff, right?
Puppet animation and things like that. It's all on YouTube because God is kind to us. The scripts, I wish they were better. I wish the writing were wittier and funnier. A lot of it falls flat, although the actual physical production of it and the work with the puppets is very, very good and often very funny. So it is worth seeing an episode or two, or of course, Joyce and I binge watched all of them many, many times because I forced her to at gunpoint. But one particularly, a moment that has stayed with us is the Fluffy Pookie Poo dance. I will explain. When Mr. Potato Head, the character in this show, was not really like the character in Toy Story, when he is really upset because he's putting on this show every week, he's kind of like the Kermit of this. What Kermit is to the Muppet Show, Mr. Potato Head is to the Mr. Potato Head Show. He and his gang have to put on an entertaining show every week, and it's very meta. So they work on the program, but they also have to deal with the crazy, mean program directors from the network
Who eat French fries.
who eat French fries in front of him, which is really a little aside, and potato chips occasionally. So when Mr. Potato Head feels like he's losing it, like he's losing the thread, he goes into a room, he puts on a diaper, and he starts doing the Fluffy Pookie Poo dance, which calms him down, which gets him through a difficult time as long as they can rescue him, and he just isn't in there all day doing it over and over. But once you get the Fluffy Pookie Poo dance into your head, which I'm pretty sure was written by Mark Mothersbaugh, formerly of Devo, and who has scored everything from like Pee Wee Herman to bunches of children and regular people's films. It's a cha-cha, so it's like dum da dum 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 pookie dum da, da. And it basically starts with Potato lifting one arm, then the other arm, then going backwards and forwards, and then essentially flailing spasmodically because he's not the best dancer. But I know when Joyce and I get stressed, we start doing the Fluffy Pookie Poo dance. You should try it. If you go on YouTube and you don't want to watch a whole Mr. Potato Head episode, and why wouldn't you? You can actually look for Fluffy Pookie Poo, P-O-O-K-I-E, Fluffy Pookie Poo dance, and just see about a 45-second clip of Mr. Potato Head doing the Fluffy Pookie Poo dance. And if you do this, and just don't do it once, because you have to listen to the song about 5, 10, 37 times before it sticks with you. But then you cannot get it out of your head. It was like 3 weeks ago when Joyce and I, many, many months later, discovered the Baby Shark song. And then for a whole goddamn week.
Fiona, baby Fiona.
Oh, well, I don't know why that came up. Also in Joyce's video feed. I guess it must have been a birthday or something, but she found video footage of a baby hippopotamus from about 2 or 3 years ago, baby Fiona from a zoo. And they had they birth her.
I think they're rare, no?
Oh, yeah, I listened with the sound on. I was just watching the video. It just kind of, the way the milk or what I was hoping to show you, the way the milk falls out of the bottle like in clumps and clots. This is how the baby hippopotamus came out of its mama. It was like plach, right on the floor in a heap of goo. But it was so cute. Well, that's birth, you know. And but it was so adorable. And then they pick it up, and it was shivering, so they help it, and they get it, nurse it back to health, and it starts walking in a herky-jerky way. And now I think it's about 2 or 3 years old. And the amazing thing is, within a year, the thing went from about like 12 pounds to 1,500 pounds. So if you know people who have issues with Weight Watchers, or they're on the keto diet, I mean, don't worry about it. You are so doing better than this poor hippo that just cannot keep off the weight. Well, yeah, but 1,500 pounds, I'm sorry, that's too much Nabisco.
Those are like manatees with legs.
Oh, manatees are cuter though. Hippos are adorable when they're born. They kind of lose that adorableness pretty quick. And then they just turn into like, ooh, zoo animal. But it's so cute. They have the same, you know why you equate them with manatees? Of course, the snuffle is the same.
Yeah.
You ever look at the front of a manatee and the front of a hippo?
A big fat tube. I like it.
Yeah, I know my wife likes a big fat tube. Dave's Gone By is the show. Dave is my name. Since we were talking about food before and food spoiling and stuff, there's one other thing I want to talk to you about food before we get to the show proper, which, by the way, I didn't have a chance to finish up and tell you that, yes, Greeley Crimes and Old Times and Potato News, and we will have our Wretched Pun of Destiny. Yes, we do have a Wretched Pun of Destiny this week, not about a manatee or a hippo or a potato, but about gorillas. We have a pun about gorillas, and our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, where we will be going to Fowler, Colorado. But we, of course, most important thing is we will have a return visitor to the Daverhood. He was here more than a decade ago, back when the show was on terrestrial radio on Long Island. He and his band, the Randy Bandits, joined us in the Daverhood for music and conversation. Well, first of all, he's still alive and well, and the Randy Bandits are still alive and well, and they've got a new album out. His name is Jim Knable. Jim, Knable. Jim Knable. In fact, the name of this episode is Willing and Knable. Willing and Knable. Get it? Because I'm a enabler. All right, you get it. You get it. You're smart. So Jim Knable has stuff going on, even though it's a pandemic, and he's been mostly a playwright the past few years. He's always got stuff going on. He's got new music out. He's working on plays. He's written a couple of novels as well. So Jim Knable, he's going to be back with us, Zooming in the Daverhood. So you'll actually get to see him this time when Rabbi Saul Solomon interviews him on the program. And then Jim is going to stick around to play our Today, Yesterday quiz, our trivia quiz. He'll be playing opposite our erstwhile means former, right? Yes. What's our constant friends, our longtime companions, David Sheward and Leslie Hoban Blake. So a lot of fun coming up on the show. But before we get to the fun stuff, let me tell you what Joyce and I have resorted to in terms of food. One of the things that Joyce really loves, food. Uh-oh. Really loves what do you think I said?
No, I don't know what you're going to say.
So Joyce loves popcorn, right?
Oh no.
I like popcorn too, but I kind of like it. I'm going to do it. I've got to tell this. It's a great. It's wonderful, and it can't be more disgusting than clumpy milk. You make the decision.
I think so.
So Joyce and I. Joyce is really into popcorn. I kind of like the simple, you take the bag, it's got salt and fake butter on it, you throw it in the microwave, it tastes good, boom, boom, but it's garbage. I realize that. Joyce, she's very, very careful about what she eats, so she wants the pristine, just pop the kernels.
The pristine.
well, but I mean, as opposed to even like, I guess Jiffy Pop was kind of like that. Everybody remember Jiffy Pop? Where you would take this tin-foiled, it almost looked like a banjo. You'd hold the banjo over the stove, and you'd stand there, and the kernels would be in it, and you just hold it over fire, and it would pop, 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 and you turn, and you'd have hot popcorn. Great idea, wonderful idea for 1967. something like that. And then they invented microwave popcorn, and people were like, why the hell are we doing this? But beyond that, they started making, of course, popcorn poppers at home, where for $15, $20, $25, you get a machine, right? And you plug it in, it's fantastic. You buy kernels, and you put the kernels in the machine, you wait, you put a bowl, and you clear out of the way. Because there's always these random unpopped kernels that go flying. I think, that guy Dick Cheney's shot, I think it wasn't even Dick Cheney's buckshot that got him. There was some guy popping popcorn in the woods, and a popcorn kernel just flew at the poor guy. But it's a fabulous invention, right? Here it is, you can make popcorn that's just corn kernels. So if you don't want salt, if you don't want fake oleaginized, but you just want popped kernels, you don't want to stand over a stove. And it's kind of hard, believe it or not, it is hard to find microwave popcorn that has nothing in it, has nothing on it. It's just a bag of kernels. So now, and it's also very economical, you take some kernels, you spoon it into the machine, and boom. The problem that we have found living here, because Joyce and I are living with my parents during this whole transitional period, during the pandemic, is that my dad has a very varied sleep schedule and has a lot of trouble getting to sleep. And it's very difficult. He's got all sorts of comorbid issues. So when he does get to sleep, it's kind of a blessing. Well, go figure. So whenever Joyce and I want to make popcorn, it's around the time that he's trying to sleep. And the popcorn popper's in the kitchen, and he's just wander over in the downstairs bedroom, right? So it's gotten to the thing, the one thing about this popcorn popper is, if you think leaf blowers outside are really loud and annoying, imagine a gardener coming in and bringing in like a monster leaf blower and just putting it in the kitchen, and then on top of that noise, you hear, right? It's just nonstop, right? And it's just like, even I'm standing there, I'm like, whoa, does this have to be? I mean, there must be a next iteration of this machine that works as quietly as, an air conditioner or something, but not this one. So we have the machine, and we realize, okay, if we do this downstairs, we're going to disturb everybody. But you want to do it in the kitchen because popcorn, I mean, it's a good smell, especially if you walk into a movie theater. But you don't want to necessarily do it anywhere else because kernels get everywhere and the smell gets everywhere. So it's like, well, where can we do this? We can't do it outside. It's too cold. There's no plug. We don't want to schlep outside to make popcorn. And we don't necessarily want to bring it to the bedroom because you do it a couple of days in a row, the bedroom is just going to smell like stale popcorn day after day. What the hell do we do? So old Dave has the answer. And we have been making popcorn in the bathroom upstairs. And this is a small bathroom. So, the sink is here, all right? There's a little big space, and here's the toilet. So there's just enough room on one side of the sink to lay the popcorn popper. We put the corn in the thing, we put it in the back, and then the dish, the bowl, and you don't want to hold the dish in front of.
It's like living in the dorm,
I guess, well, I never lived in a dorm.
The dorm is like you have your TV, your microwave, your fridge, everything in one little.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm assuming not in the bathroom. You didn't keep the microwave in the bathroom.
That's where the peeping Toms are.
Well, if you're lucky. No, but so, and instead, you don't want to stand in front of the chute where the corn is coming through, because again, most of the corn goes in one place, but little kernels and things spit out and fly, and they're flaming hot. It's like meteorites coming at you. So, if your skin is unprotected and you get hit with one of these popcorn, it's like, ow. So you got to figure out where the hell, there's no room on the sink for the bowl. So we position the bowl literally in this not very deep sink, right under the faucet. The faucet's not going. So here's the popcorn popper. Here's the faucet. I call it now, when we make it, I call it toilet corn. Because, that's the most magnificent thing about this whole thing is we're always careful. I read, and I spoke about this a few months ago on the show, about toilet plumes. And that when you make a poop, you close the lid of the thing before you flush, because if you don't, the I don't know, some microbes of the poo or the pee, E. coli, gets in the air and goes everywhere. They're microscopic.
We have toilet toweling paper too.
Yeah. But so we're extra careful on that because all my years, 55 years growing up, I never closed the toilet lid after I went, I flushed. You go, you flush. That's what a toilet's for. The only time.
Why do you think they make a lid?
That's a really good question.
They make a lid so you close it.
Huh. I thought they just use a toilet lid because that's where I put my clothes while I'm showering before I put them back on.
No.
Huh. Yeah, I guess, okay, maybe that's why they make a lid. So you close all right, fair enough. But I didn't. All those years, when you go to a public bathroom, if you go in an office somewhere or a store somewhere, you don't want to touch the lid. Yeah, you go, you flush.
You flush with your foot as you're exiting the door. You don't flush while you're in that room.
I flush with my third leg. No, anywho. But it's just kind of funny that we go through all these permutations to not get microbes and this is even before COVID. You just don't want poop plumes in the air.
Key on QVC that we have, that non-touch key.
Oh, yeah. Well, let me get to the, hold on. So we go through all that, and yet when it's time to make popcorn, there we are in the bathroom. And there have been times, in fact, almost every time, when because it takes a little while. It takes about 2 or 3 minutes for the corn kernels to heat up, and the machines are, and we're waiting for the thing to come out. And I'm like, okay, I gotta pee. So I'm standing there, and I'm peeing.
You don't. You never have.
I have. I have. Not perhaps when the kernels are quite coming out, but just before when I was standing. You know what? I'm here. I think I'll pee. And the popcorn thing is blowing. And I'm watching, and I'm making sure there's no kernels going to be flying at me and, hitting my Johnson while I'm taking a whiz. So it really is truly toilet corn. And these are the kinds of things you do when you're married for 23 years. And meanwhile, the fun part, Joyce mentioned this before, is being and by the way, the corn tastes absolutely fine.
Because we buy bougie,
it's the same stuff. It's corn. It's kernels of corn. Is it Dick's? Is that the name of it?
I think.
Ranger Doug's, some kind of special. It's really nice, and it's even though it's the bourgeois popcorn, it's really not much more expensive than and it's far less expensive than Orville Redenbacher, where you're just playing for the game. So, but the other thing and this is true, that it has been hard to find, even now, even 9 months into this pandemic, it can be very hard to find the best paper towels, and the paper towels that my mom really likes, and they're really good ones. We use the Bounty and the Bounty Select-A-Size, and half the time they're just not in the supermarket, or they'll have the single rolls, but you can't get the 6 rolls that are actually the size of 8. They're not. They're 6 rolls. Just call them like they are. So sometimes we get them, sometimes we don't. Sometimes when we can find them, they're the monster rolls, right? They're the roll where 1 roll is actually the size of 3 rolls.
27.
Yeah, which is fine. Great. We need it. We go through a lot of what Joyce calls toweling paper. I call it paper towels. We just go through a ton of them. But when we get the monster size ones, they're too big to fit in the roller in the kitchen. Right. So because they got this, it's been there before my parents even moved in. There was a thing where you could take the paper towel roll, put it up, and it rolls just like a toilet paper dispenser. Well, the problem is when it's that thick, it's hitting the top of the cabinet. It won't go in there. So what my mom does is she'll keep those paper towels for use in the bathroom for a week, and then when the roll shrinks enough to get small enough to use, she will move it from the bathroom near the toilet where it's been for days, and then she'll put it in the kitchen so we can use it with the food. This is my life. This is when I grew up. This is why people think I'm fecal-philic. This is why I'm obsessed with poo and pee and bathroom stuff, because this is the family that I belong to. The family that takes paper towels from the toilet And it's like, oh, okay, it's small enough. It can go in the kitchen now. Now it can go next to the food. Now this is what we're going to wipe our hands with when we're eating spare ribs. It's like, okay. But, oh my, if there's a word of the day, it's toilet corn, ladies and gentlemen.
Your obsession with toilet actually helped us win.
How was that?
On the quiz, remember?
Speaking of...
There was something that babies, Leslie can talk about it later, but we played Family Feud, and it said, what's the one thing babies have trouble learning or using? And you got...
Yeah, I'll explain. Our friend Leslie Hoban Blake, whom I hope will be participating a little bit later in our Today Yesterday quiz, she invited Joyce and me and our mutual friend Charlie Gross to play a trivia quiz. And it's this online virtual trivia quiz that's done with like hundreds of people who are playing along. And it's fun. Usually it's like Jeopardy trivia, but this time they decided to do a Family Feud style thing, which was a lot of fun. And one question that we all got right, was what is something that a baby has trouble doing or takes time to do. It was like, first word in my head, toilet. Number one answer. So I was very, very, very proud that toilet was number one answer. Although, Leslie and Charlie should have listened to me a little more on some of the other answers. I'm going to put us a little higher on the board, ladies and gentlemen. Just a little bit higher. We came in 14th out of about 45 teams playing, which is our highest ranking so far. We're trying to tell you something about our skills playing games. But anywho, you're watching Dave's Gone By. We haven't even played our theme song yet, and when we come out of it, it will be time for Greeley Crimes and Old Times.
Good morning.
Good morning.
There goes the Daverhood. And there was much rejoicing.
Didn't your meds kick in yet?
David Lefkowitz here. He's a Long Island Hearts guy. He's got his own radio show.
I want you all to really enjoy a wonderful program done by a fine artist.
A glorious thing of unparalleled beauty.
Dave's Gone By. Dave is one of my very favorite broadcasters, so keep on listening to Mr. Dave.
That's me, Mr. Dave, Dave Lefkowitz, with the 776th episode of Dave's Gone By. Let me give a couple of shout outs to people who have tuned in on this Saturday morning, December 12th. James G, Bruce, Peter, David S, Julie, and is that Trod G? Todd G. Sorry about that.
Do me a favor, look and smile for a few seconds so I can get you. I'm waiting. Oh wait, you're very slow. You're very slow.
People have called me slow for years. Yeah. Oh, well, no, you'll get me now. You'll get me there. So Todd H.G. Todd, maybe. Ken and Christine K. and Will and Warhol. Welcome, Warhol. Jennifer, Charles, Christine, Jan, Jim, Vicky, and Vicky's sister. That's interesting.
No, sister. Vicky's the sister. She's sister.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Vicky Quaggy is. She was on our show a couple months ago.
What's her name? The sister.
Sister Mary. Oh, she's from Late Night Catechism, but I'm not remembering. I'm sorry, I don't remember the character. Yeah. Peter, Susanna, Michael D, Denise, Pete M, Denise again, Donna F, and Dr. David G from my high school.
Dr.
Welcome.
David G.
Dr. David G. You are with Dr. G.
David G is like respect, mad respect for David.
Mad respect for, thank you. My wife just said she has mad respect for me doing this program every Saturday from 9 until noon. Let me remind you, because I always wait too long to do this, that we are not sponsored by Dr. Shelley Blobstein. I just like this bumper sticker that I found in the road. If only my car was as clean as my kids' teeth. I love Dr. Blobstein.
Hold on.
Okay, there'll be a delay, but you'll get it when I start talking again.
Wait, oh no, not that.
I'll show my teeth. Okay. Anywho.
That's the dentist drill.
Yeah, no, it was perfect. It was perfect. So,
I'm nearsighted.
what else? Oh, yeah, our sponsors, our longtime sponsors. And when I say long time, I mean it. I mean that they sponsored our very first episode back in 2002, Hewlett Minuteman Press, the copy kings of Broadway in Hewlett, Long Island. This is the franchisees, the Toron family, are the folks that you should use for all your copying, printing, binding, and other kinds of needs. So we have Jim Knable, who will be our guest on the program. We don't get a lot of letter K. So let's see what they have here for, oh, there is no letter K. Just my luck, there's no letter K on this list.
Because there's a silent K.
It's a silent K, that's right. In honor of Jim Knable with the silent K. Knable, sorry.
You call him Knable again, oh my God.
I've been doing that for years. It's Knable, sorry.
It's like I am able to meet Mr. Knable.
We are willing in Knable. We
with
are
the
indeed.
Cable. Look, you're on the table.
N is for nameplates, napkins. NCR, which is carbonless forms.
Like C is for cookie.
N is for newsletters, is good enough for me. N is for notepads, is good enough for me. N is for numbering, is good enough for me. Whoa, Minuteman Press, call them plainly. Sorry about that, but yes.
Jim is watching. Give him a shout out.
Well, a shout out to Jim. Remember, you're coming on in about half an hour from, a little less than half an hour from now at this point. So, but Minuteman, they're a UPS delivery service. They also do silk screening, and they will put your name or logo on cards or banners or bumper stickers or pens and pencil sets and sporting good equipment and sportswear. Basically, if there's a way that you want to get the messaging out about your company, Hewlett Minuteman Press can help. So give them a call, 516-569-5577, area code 516-569-5577. And if you tell them Dave sent you, you get 10% off any job, big or small. So even if you come in there with 2 pages to Xerox, if you're using the brand name, or if you have giant presentations that you have to do, or wedding invitations, or you need business cards made up in this crazy time for business. If you're a restaurant, and starting Monday, you won't be able to serve anybody indoors anymore, and you need like a sandwich board outside, Hewlett Minuteman Press can help you do that. 516-569-5577. They are the Copy Kings. Well, I feel like a king when I do this program, Dave's Gone By. Let's get to where Joyce and I used to live for almost a decade. Just a couple of years ago, Greeley, Colorado, a nice, semi-humble little city, about it's about an hour and 10 minutes drive from Denver, about 40 minutes from Fort Collins, but it's got a kind of a charm all its own. It also has its own newspaper. It's the Greeley Tribune, which you can find online and which you can also subscribe to hard copy 4 days a week. Oh, by the way, I do this every week, not because they're paying, they don't have any money. They're not paying me. We don't have a sponsorship deal. I do this because there are 2 columns in this newspaper that they've been running for years. And they're both delightful and intentionally funny. One of them is called Cop Log, which has to do with phone calls that come into the local Greeley Police Dispatch from people who notice something amiss going on, or amisses going on in the neighborhood, and they want to tell the cops about it. Plus, there's Greeley 100 years ago, stuff that was in the newspaper back in 1920. Well, we kind of like to mix both of those things up in a segment that we call Greeley Crimes and Old Times. We do. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's Greeley Crimes and Old. What is this? It's time for the news, the potato news? Not yet. Potato news is. Potato's very excited because we do have potato news coming up after this. But no, it's time to talk about things. Oh, what the?
Somebody, viewer has a question.
A viewer, what's the question?
Somebody once said,
how the hell did I get on the air? No, what?
Elliot said, hey, Daverhood, where can I get that shirt? Happy Hanukkah.
Oh, thank you, Elliot. What's the last initial?
G.
Oh my God, is it like a Jewish name?
Yes.
Wow, one of the nicest supervisors I've ever had is this guy named Elliot. Back when I was working, I won't say your last name if you don't want me to, but when I was working, I'm probably the only human being, I know I'm the only human being in the whole world who worked for both Playboy magazine and Playbill magazine. But Elliot was my direct supervisor at Playboy magazine when I was Miss November and December, because I was that big back then. But yeah, Elliot, a big shout out to you. Really, really nice dude, and hope that you're well. Ask my wife where she got it. She got this shirt as a gift. Oh, the Lucky T-shirt I wore last week. But it's the Oi to the World shirt. I can't really show the whole thing here, but thank you, Elliot. And thank you all for tuning in every Saturday and for staying with us through Greeley crimes and old times. This is, we'll start with a crime. We'll start with something. I do, that's how I was going to wear those too, but
next week.
I'm wearing the shirt.
Yeah, I said got the shirt at Target. Also have Rocky t-shirt and menorah PJs.
Which is absolutely true. My wife really, she went all out this Hanukkah. She really is like, Dave, I'm going to dress you to the lines. Wait, I'm going to dress you to the Shmonas.
Yeah.
Yes, it's been 50 years since Hebrew school. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Time for some crime. Police responded to a complaint of 3 dogs barking all day long on 16th Street. I think those dogs had a sex change. An officer listened for more than 10 minutes and did not hear a single bark, so he left his card on the dog owner's door. 3 hours later, police again responded to a complaint of barking in the same location. The officer listened for another 10 minutes and again did not hear any barking. The officer's card, though, was still on the door. So, is it phantom dog barking in Greeley, Colorado? What do you think?
I think it's the ghost dog barking.
It could. It could.
Or it could be that the person's on meth. I mean, we go both ways in that.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm not only...
David, that was the question on the quiz. What do you dislike about living?
That's right. One of the things is an extra neighbor. What's something that's annoying that you hear coming from a neighbor's house and dogs barking? But by the way, I am not only dressed to the nines. I guess I'm dressed to the canines. That was a toothsome answer. All right, here we go. Next crime. A caller on 9th Avenue.
I can't do both.
Sure. A caller on 9th Avenue reported that his car was missing. What do you think happened?
He parked it in his garage.
Yeah, he found it one lot over.
Good.
But I feel we all have done this. We all think we parked one place and it's like just over there. Like,
sometimes they say take a picture of where you're parked. I've done that.
That is so smart. Because everybody, basically, we've all been not so much traumatized, but forewarned by that Seinfeld episode where they spend all 27 minutes wandering around a parking garage and looking for it. We all understood it, and we were all like, yes, from now on, we're not going to get caught like that. Let's do something from old times. Oh my goodness, honey, whoa, so early in the segment, it's a Lupton alert. It's a Lupton alert. It's a story about Fort Lupton in Colorado.
Lupton. Alert.
Yes, it is a Fort Lupton alert. It really isn't anything special except that it's a story that is about Fort Lupton in northern Colorado. And why is that special to me? Because I just love saying, and you know this, people who tune in every week, they know this, I love saying the word Lupton. Joyce says I'm a Luptaholic. Yes, I love to Lupton. Oh, I live to love to Lupton. Lupton. I wish Van Morrison had done like a 12-minute song back in the 1970s, where he's just ripping on Lupton, the lup that loves to lups.
He's been there.
Well, he might. He's played in Colorado. Van Morrison, he may have played for 3 minutes and stormed off in a huff, but I'm sure he's played like Red Rocks and stuff. So maybe he took a little detour to Fort Lupton, that loves the lup, to loves to love, to loves to love, to love to love to. Little Astral Weeks little reference there. Anyway, we have a Lupton alert. What's wrong with me? In the Fort Lupton area, the Industrial Feeding Company is now fattening up 17,000 head of sheep for market. Why they're just fattening up the heads and not the actual sheep bodies that we eat, I don't know. Many laborers were hired to maintain the sheep through the winter. Maintain, I wonder if that's a euphemism. Anywho, in the health news column, by the way, from 100 years ago, this is actually, you know, sometimes the old things are still the right things. For example, to stop vomiting.
Hold on, wait.
There you go. There's the noise. What do you think their advice is to stop vomiting? Well, don't start, but yeah.
Eat good food.
Cool. But if you're in the midst of it, they say eat small, frequent doses of ice.
Oh yeah, they do that when women are in labor.
Yeah, I think that's actually a very.
Yeah, that's not a bad advice. What's wrong with that?
No, I'm saying to whiten teeth, brush once a week with lemon juice or peroxide.
Oh yeah, I know actually a lot of the holistic, holistic stuff. Yeah.
But the thing is, I thought lemon juice wore away or ate away at the enamel and would not be a good thing to wash your teeth. But the best one, the one that made me keep this, is for a toothache.
Yeah.
Because this is so easy to do. Boil a small quantity of alum.
Oh, well, I guess you're actually sealing up your tooth.
Yeah. When it gets lukewarm, hold it in your mouth, but do not swallow. I think a lot of things can go wrong with that. First of all, where do you buy alum anymore?
I don't know.
Aluminum foil I can get, but alum, so you boil this stuff, and when it just gets lukewarm, you kind of hold it in the mouth. But of course, you also don't want to swallow this poisonous. I don't, okay, the brushing with lemon juice, fine, 100 years ago. Eating little bits of ice, I would still do. I think that makes tremendous amount of sense. But the alum thing, maybe not. Maybe not. Anyway, let's go back to some more crime, shall we? Where, if I didn't lose it, here we are. A caller. Police, I'm sorry, no, it's not a caller. Police responded to suspicious activity at a store on 10th Street. A delivery driver saw 3 people inside the store. What do you think happened there?
I think they were shopping.
No, well, this is after hours.
I think they were stocking the shelves.
Literally, they were employees stocking overnight.
I told you one time. So my grandmother used to do a card party for this local group.
Yeah.
And we were doing a rummage sale. So it was like 8 or 9 o'clock. We were in the basement of a religious institution, like going through boxes, and the police came in. And it was my grandma, my grandpa, and me. And I got so scared. And my grandpa went to them and they said, well, we're just checking because we got a report that lights were on in the basement of this institution. And we wondered if anything was happening. And my grandma's like, we're just sorting clothes for the rummage sale.
Yeah, I mean,
I was like, wow, I got scared.
Well, of course, because your grandpa was black and they choked the life out of him.
No, my grandpa. So Grandpa Harry, we think probably was Jewish. We don't know. But Grandpa Harry looked African American. Did
he really?
He was very dark skin, yeah. And
that's why the cops bothered you.
He was at a cruise. He was on a cruise with my grandmother, and they said, "Aren't you the mayor of this city?" And we went home and we looked him up, and he was African American.
Wow.
So we don't know. Who knows?
That's so cool.
We don't know. Our family is messed up.
No, there's nothing messed up about it. It's a cool story.
I don't know anything. My grandfather would only say, like, all day, all people will be one. He would never say anything. Well,
because he was a freak and he wanted this big orgy. Very, very sick man.
So not true. So the opposite.
Oh, yeah, like you think you really know your grandpa's urges.
My grandpa used to, that he played with, they wanted to play, Harry James wanted him to play with them.
You want to rephrase that?
In the band. Yeah. My grandpa used to play the trumpet, the one you muffle.
Yeah.
And then he played it with the band, and my grandmother used to say the women would put their keys in his pocket of his socks. Yeah.
I mean, this is why people become musicians, man.
I think so, yeah.
I mean, you sent me that story, not to go too much off on a tangent, but that story from The Guardian about Bob Dylan and the reason that he sold, I still find it, I don't know why he did it, but he sold the rights to every song he ever wrote last week for something like $600 million. worth every penny. And now his kids and his grandkids are going to be fine. But he's got like, 9 children by 10 different women. And, one child didn't come out so well. I know. And God knows how many, he may not know how many grandchildren he has, because there's kids that he gets along with and kids that he ignored for years.
Thank God
He's
for the DNA testing.
very, very shady sexual past for old Bob there, and if you believe the story. But how do we get into, musicians, man. Musicians is why they go into music. If only accountants, if only. Or if only school district administrators. Yeah. I don't have any pockets on here, women, so if you want to put your keys, they're going to have to be, leave the keys with Potato. You can just put the key ring right here, attach it to his little ribbon.
David, now it has to be virtual.
Well, you're pimp. All right,
It has to be virtual now.
Oh, well, all right. So leave your virtual keys.
Leave your Zoom links.
That's it. Yeah, there you go. Anywho, let's do another crime, shall we? We shall. A caller. Wait, where? Oh, here we go. On 14th Avenue, said that he was locked out of his house by his mother and stepdad, even though he is on the lease. They unlocked. Here's the deal. They unlocked the door after he knocked, which he hadn't tried before calling the police. Your mind jumps. He hadn't even bothered to. I know.
Yeah, but maybe he didn't want to knock without the police because they wouldn't let him in.
Maybe.
I could see that.
A caller on 5th Avenue reported a man with a badge was taking pictures of all the cars in the parking lot. He told the caller he was an agent and wouldn't say anything further. What do you think the police advised? So there's a guy with a badge taking pictures of all the cars in the parking lot. Told the caller, I'm just an agent. What do you think the police said?
Stay away.
Stay away, why?
Because he's a policeman.
He's probably a bounty hunter.
Like a repo agent.
Or something like that, yeah. And let me tell you something. As I was saying before, when I go into the supermarket, there's sometimes Scott towels, there's sometimes the generic brand, but you have to be on the hunt for bounty, especially the multi-container rolls. So the bounty hunters are I'll bet they're getting quite a lot of work this time.
I bet so like a shopper.
Yeah. That joke didn't work as well as I wanted it to. Let's go away from Greeley for a moment, because every week we also bring up a story that has nothing to do with Colorado. We go further afield for the segment, and we're going to go this time all the way to Guelph. Guelph. It sounds like the phlegm I was bringing up in my throat before. Guelph, Ontario, Canada. This is wonderful. And it kind of fits in with some other stuff we were talking about. How do honeybees protect themselves against murder hornets? Because remember, we're all supposed to be so terrified of the murder hornets coming to New York and to America.
Isn't that the name of like this hockey team or something?
There's a great name for a hockey team. These are these super hornet things that are really incredibly, horribly painful if you get stung by them. And worse, they destroy beehives. So they go after, the gentle-ish honeybees, attack, kill, and take over the nest. And we're trying to keep them from coming. Everything bad came from Asia this year except sparrows. We had COVID from that. We had election tampering from Asia. And now these murder hornets are coming in from China or somewhere. But how do honeybees, which thank God are kind of adaptive, how do they protect themselves against murder hornets? Do you have any idea?
How did they do it?
On the entrances to their hives, the bees spread animal dung.
Oh, no.
I just read them. This is true. According to a study by the University of Guelph, honeybees in Vietnam collect and apply spots of animal dung around the entrances to hives. This deters deadly nest raids by the Vespa soror, the Asian cousin to North American murder hornets. An invasive species that, like COVID, came from Asia. Giant hornets are almost as long as a golf tee, and they pack 7 times the venom of a honeybee in one single sting. So the researchers gathered dung from water buffalo, chickens, pigs, and cows and placed it in mounds near an apiary. By the end of the day, 150 bees had visited the piles, especially the pig and chicken poop. The hornets, here's the deal, the hornets spent less than half the time in the dung-spotted hives and 1/10 as much chewing on the entrances to get in. The researchers are unsure of just what deters the hornets. Really? You're not sure what is deterring the hornets?
Probably the dung.
And there's this wonderful picture, if you find the story, of a researcher, a very brave researcher, holding a honeybee in his hand carefully. And you see the honeybee, and it's got poop hanging from its lip. And it also makes you kind of wonder, it's like, don't bees, unless you're a queen, isn't their life hard enough already? Don't they go to work, make honey, go flower, go back, go to the hive, go back, go to the hive, go back. It's enough. They have this life going back, these poor bees. And then the queen tells them, okay, Arthur and your gang and these two families, your job is, go from pollen, bring it in, go back, go pollen, go. No. You see those stinky piles over there? Your job is to go take a nice mouthful.
That's the newbies.
Oh, you need a noise for that. You deserve a noise for that. But it's true. Can you imagine a poor bee thinking like, oh God. Oh,
I'm so happy to be a member of the hive. This will have such great opportunities.
I was employee of the month last year.
I worked so hard
Yeah.
to, all of my life. I just hoped and prayed I would make it into this.
I purposely switched hives because I have an easier commute. And I went to this one, and now it's like, you're kidding me, right? This was not in the job description. Where's my union?
I know.
I was like, back and forth, carrying poop. It is a metaphor for life, isn't it, folks? By the way, Dave's Gone By is the show that you are watching. It is essentially a metaphor for life. I'm Dave Lefkowitz. We're doing Greeley crimes and old times before we get to some other stuff like the Wretched Pun of Destiny and the Colorado Limerick of the Damned. And very shortly, Rabbi Saul Solomon interviewing our very special guest, Jim Knable. And then Jim will stick around to play the Today, Yesterday trivia quiz. So lots and lots of fun ahead. Let's finish up this Greeley Crimes and Old Times segment for today, December 12th, 2020. And by the way, I'm Dave Lefkowitz. That's my wonderful wife, Joyce. We're here every Saturday from 9 until noon or thereabouts, right on this Facebook channel, Dave's Gone By. If you're new to it, welcome. If you're not, get some more. We need newbies. We need more people watching and liking the show, whether you're watching it live with us on Saturday mornings or you're coming to the Facebook page later in the week and just watching the recorded show at your leisure. Pardon me. Or you can go at any time to davesgoneby.com, DAVESGONEBY, davesgoneby.com. And that is where we have every archive, all the way from the audio shows, the radio shows that we were doing 18 years ago, right through when this turned into just a podcast, and then the last 3 or 4 years where we've been a video show in a manner of speaking. It's all there. Virtually every episode we have ever done is there, preserved. Most of them in really, really good condition. Some have some audio glitches. Some don't sound great because they were recorded off AM radio on a cassette recorder, but at least it's there. At least the archives are there. All at davesgoneby.com. And remember that you can write to me, davesgoneby@AOL.com. Yes, it's a classic old-fashioned email address. I don't know how many people email anymore, but it's davesgoneby@AOL.com. And check my Twitter feed, Radio Dave 2. And this is also a good time to mention that you can support archive.org, a non-for-profit website that is collecting material, audio-visual books from the past 150, 200 years of life on this planet. Check it out. And our show is there, and our interviews are there. Archive.org. Just look for Dave's Gone By. Or if you prefer audio, if you're out and about distancing with a mask on and you want to hear the show and you don't want to see this face or this sweater for 3.5 hours, then you're just going to need castbox.fm. Castbox.fm, where we put the audio archives of our show. So let's finish up. We're going to do a last bit of Greeley crimes and old times on this Saturday, December 12th. Let's do something old-timey here. The masquerade dance in Briggsdale, which is, I guess, somewhere close to Greeley in northern Colorado. The masquerade dance in Briggsdale Saturday night was much enjoyed. Only half the couples wore masks. More things change, right? 1920, only half the couples at this dance wore masks, but the dance was enjoyed by all. And the dance, which is held every 2 weeks, is about the only enjoyment in Briggsdale for old and young alike. They can just take away the whole old and young alike part and say, it's about the only enjoyment in Briggsdale, Colorado, the masquerade dance on Saturday night, much enjoyed. Let's do one last crime before we put this segment to bed here on Dave's Gone By. How about police responded to apartments on 25th Street, where a man tried opening up someone's door a few times. The guy was hallucinating and had cotton mouth, as well as large pupils, but no drugs were found. Well, if he was a high school teacher, he would have large pupils, wouldn't he? Oh, I just kill me. And that, my friends, is Greeley Crimes and Old Times.
Mr. Horace Greeley was no fool. I'm sure that you'll agree with me that Greeley was no fool.
But he is getting at his Mr. Greeley was no fool.
Yippee-yi, 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 yi-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi.
So in just a couple of minutes, we will have our guest in the neighborhood talking to Rabbi Saul Solomon, Jim Knable, the playwright.
Oh.
What?
You called him wrong name.
Jim Knable. Why do I do that? Jim Knable rhymes with Knable. K-N-A-B-L-E. Jim Knable will be with us in the neighborhood talking to Rabbi Saul Solomon. And then also more fun in the show for you. But before we get to that, let's do this early in the show. Let's get this out of the way. Ladies and gentlemen, most weeks, I like to torture my listeners and my viewers with a play on words that is really, really execrable. And really just, you go and you sit through a very, very short story. And at the end of it is a play on words that makes you wonder why you were even born. We call those the wretched puns of destiny. And we have one for you. It's about gorillas.
The day was gone by, wretched pun of destiny.
A dozen gorilla fetuses are harvested in Africa and transferred to a zoo in the States in order to see if growing them in incubators will make them more or less resistant to disease. Unfortunately, 2 weeks into the study, a blackout hits and 6 of the incubators malfunction. Hurry, says the zookeeper, take the fetuses out of the broken incubators and put them on the floor. The carpet's warm and we can use the fireplace for more heat. Are you sure? Says the assistant. Won't keeping them on the floor affect their development? No time to second guess, replies the zookeeper. Just do it. So that's what they do, hoping the babies will be born okay, while also being scientifically curious about whether using 2 heating methods might cause different results. Months later, the gorilla babies are born. They're all healthy and mentally fit. However, the 6 who were raised on the carpet all have an extra pair of arms. Says the zookeeper, I would never have guessed. Well, I did, says the assistant. You know the old saying, floor warmed is forearmed. We here at Dave's Gone By apologize for bringing you the wretched pun of destiny. That joke is hurting me. That pun, I give out. I was having such a happy holiday, such a good Hanukkah, and then, my friends, I hear that. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize on behalf of Dave Lefkowitz, the host and producer of this program, for that wretched pun. But oh, no more wretchedness. Now we have delight. Now we have joy. My friends, it is time to welcome to the Daverhood a musician, a writer, a novelist, and a cool dude. His name is Jim Knable, rhymes with Knable, and he's coming to the Daverhood to talk with me, Rabbi Saul Solomon, founder and spiritual leader of Temple Sons of Bitches in Great Neck, New York. Why is he putting a dildo up his nose? What the hell is that? What is that in front of you there?
It's a microphone. Does it work?
Oh, it's a microphone. Okay, there we go. Yes, you sound fantastic. This is good. So are you going to favor us with a song before we even begin?
Sure, I could. I thought you were going to be getting dressed during this.
No, I already, I'm born dressed, essentially.
Okay, well, then this is still in honor of you.
Thank you.
Right. This is something you might recognize from the old days. We'll see. And keep the tracks before the train. Never turn your back on rain. Everything will stay the same until you change. And keep the tracks before the train. Everything is just the same. People turn around and change when you change. When people change, people change, people change. And take me to the wooden shed with a pitchfork, stone, and bed. There's a whole lot that's been said, but not done. When you're dead and underground or on your head and making sound, it's just instead of going around that you come. People change, people change. Fiddle play and guitar strum, look what we have overcome. Oh, and I can't believe what we have overcame. Looking out across the town, rooftops red and black and brown. There's some people that I found that are strange. People change, people change, people change. This is a part we could sing together. I'm not sure.
Yes.
But it goes, yeah, da 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 da.
Too high.
Yeah, da 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 da. Same thing. Yeah, da 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 da. Yeah, da da da. Yeah, da 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 da. They just go nuts. Da 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 da. Happy Hanukkah.
Thank you. What a catchy number from...
That's only half the song. I decided not to play the whole thing.
No,
Yeah.
It's just the right way to start this interview with Jim Knable. Now that song was it the first Randy Bandits album or which one with Bluebeard was it from or which?
It was from Redbeard. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Redbeard, Bluebeard. I have color issues with my eyes. So it was
Redbeard. Prominently featured on Dave Lefkowitz's show in 2006, I believe.
2000 you look terrific, by the way. Welcome back to the Daverhood. Actually, they don't know what you looked like back in 2006 because it was just a radio thing back then. But you are Jim Knable, the founder of the Randy Bandits, the lead songwriter. So it's essentially, it's like the Jimi Hendrix experience. It's basically Jimi Hendrix and some guys.
Yeah, so you just have to pretend the guys are like right here and here, and they're.
Oh, I see one. Yeah, this.
Hand puppet guys.
So how are you, by the way? In the middle of a pandemic, do you live in New York or Brooklyn? Where the hell are you?
I live in Brooklyn. I mean, I could sort of show you out the window if I could turn this.
Oh, show me the window. That's a door. That's a window.
Look, there's Brooklyn. There it is.
Whoa! Wow, Brooklyn. Oh boy, it looks gorgeous, doesn't it? But
it's a nice gray day in Brooklyn.
So how are you though? How are you and yours? Because you have kids now.
I do. I have a 6-year-old and a 10-year-old. Two boys.
Yeah.
They're my wife mercifully took them out to Trader Joe's right now.
So they're fine. Do you know people who have had the pandemical thing? Are you?
Yeah, we have not been sick yet, and I'm knocking on, whatever.
Right.
But yeah, we've had friends who have had the COVID, and generally they've been okay. I have had one friend who lost her parents.
Wow, that was careless of her.
We've had, well, it was sad. And a few of the, sort of playwrights like, Terrence McNally, and of course songwriters like John Prine and things like that have been,
well, but you know you might know McNally personally. I don't know. You're a playwright.
I met him a couple times, and we corresponded a little bit, and I was a finalist for an award with his name on it, so I was always very proud of that.
Oh, McClick. So let me explain. I didn't really give you a full, proper introduction, but you are a songwriter and a playwright and a novelist, and you're constantly. That's one of the nice things about being a polymath, if I may get away with using that word. Of when you get tired of one thing, you just go and work on another, and they're all creative and they're all fun. So that's
true. It's sort of like separate streams of salvation. Like when one thing isn't working out, like, oh, I'll be this for a little while. But it's very generous of you to call me a novelist, even though my website does so. But it's true that I've written at least 2.5 novels, one of which is, had a little bit of attention on a website where it was serialized. But yeah, I mean, when I get into my 60s, then I think I'll really hit my stride as a novelist. I'm looking forward to that.
God willing. I mean, is that where you want to go? I mean, because that's a huge commitment. It's one thing to write a song, which can take months, but it's not like you're sitting there 5 hours a day, week after week, working on the same song. Or even if you write a play, a couple of months, it's done. All the rewrites are done. But a novel is like,
Not only that, but novels take solitude in a way that, plays can't survive in solitude because you have to hear them out loud. But novels, I feel, when I've written anything resembling a novel, it's because I've had alone time, and often like intense alone time to, like being laid off from a job and having nothing else to do for a little while, or, something like that. So I think it just requires like a reason to talk to yourself more than anyone else.
I talk to myself all the time. So are you in a alone time? Do you have a day job? Because all the things that you do, fantastic. You're a playwright. Fantastic that you're making music. I'm guessing that doesn't help feed 2 children who are under 10. Well, one is 10. You know what I'm saying?
Would that it did, yeah. No, but I do have a nice day job as a staff writer, so I still get to call myself a writer. It's an institution that I actually love a lot. It's the Gilder Lehrman Institute of American History. So it's all about American history all the time.
Yeah.
They mainly exist to help K through 12 history teachers, but there's so many other things they do that involve like history scholars and involve the Hamilton musical and the education component of it. So it's this really cool organization that does a lot of different stuff. And I my job is to write stuff. You might as well call me the stuff writer instead of the staff writer.
Oh, no, but is it Yona Udelman? What the hell is it? It's who?
Gilder Lehrman. So Richard Gilder and Louis Lehrman.
Nice. They sound like nice Jewish boys. Which, yeah,
they do. That's deceptive. They're not exactly, but they made a lot of money and also were very interested in history. And they have, especially Richard Gilder, who just passed away this year. He, funded everything in New York and, brought back Central Park from the dead, and then natural history, and
Gilder the builder.
Gilder was the builder, and Lou Lehrman has his own personality thing. He ran for governor in the 80s. They're both kind of on the politically conservative side of the spectrum, but their hearts are socially liberal and got more and more liberal, and their organization is kind of like apolitical. But now that history has been politicized, it is what it is.
It is right. So even in your day job, though, you still get to write. You get to do something that is kind of creative. Does that get in the way, though? Because it's that old Tennessee Williams thing where Dave's wife is saying it absolutely does. But does it get in the way of like when Tennessee Williams he was working these miserable, brainless, soulless day jobs, but that he had the energy when those were done, or in his quiet moments, to scribble a poem on a shoebox or to go home and write a play, as opposed to, all day I'm writing things.
Yeah, it's like there's a bit of an age thing to it. When I was in my 20s and 30s, I didn't mind and maybe even preferred having less meaningful jobs like that, just because I could even do my own stuff at work more and have that brain space. Now I think like it's important for my ego to have a job where I actually care about, what I'm writing. And I do find a lot of the work that I'm doing, especially this organization, really inspiring for everything from songs to plays to, getting to actually taught a course over the summer called American History Through Popular Music, where I got to do this, where I got to sing songs and teach history about everything from Yankee Doodle to...
You should pay them for a job like that. You should. That's just fun. That's just great. It
was pretty fun. It was like one of the biggest perks so far, and it was all COVID related because everybody was scrambling. Like, what do we do now that we don't necessarily have all this physical programming? And the institute, like a lot of other places, like went online hardcore and did what they did best to actually even more people, because suddenly people across the country could tune in for things all over.
Now, since you've been steeped in history, I think you've always had some kind of interest in history, because some of your plays, a number of your plays, they harken back to the Rome and the Greeks and just more modern history. What is the pull of history for you?
I think I've always liked having things to get obsessed with and entranced with. And there's something about real historical people or eras that allow for me to go through intense research and getting to know something. And that's just always been kind of interesting to me. And then like to see what that sparks creatively, whether it's using a character like, Charles Dickens. I have a play about when Charles Dickens met Edgar Allan Poe, which really happened.
When Charles Dickens did what?
He met Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
In 1842.
Yeah.
You're right.
In fact, he met him, and later on he was raving about it.
Well, no joke. No, but seriously, did you know that there's a huge connection?
No.
Yeah. So Poe was also a critic. That's how he made the most of his money.
Right.
And he wrote
Even
a lot.
he was Poe.
Right. He wrote these reviews of Charles Dickens's work. And let's see. So Charles Dickens had just come out with Barnaby Rudge, which features a raven prominently in it as sort of like a sidekick character. And Edgar Allan Poe bashed this book. Shortly after, we know, these are all historical things that we know, that Charles Dickens met with Edgar Allan Poe twice in Philadelphia in 1842. After that meeting, a few things happened. One, Poe never wrote another review of Charles Dickens' work. Two, Charles Dickens tried and failed to get Poe a publisher in England, which would have been at the time a really big deal for an American to get. And then also, there was this Raven poem that suddenly popped up. So there's a lot of connections. And also, like, you notice that Dickens' work gets a little spookier. He wrote A Christmas Carol shortly after that.
So,
and then, his also work gets a little bit deeper. So the play that I worked on, I got really obsessed with both their writings and what might have happened at the time with these two men. And then also Edgar Allan Poe's wife is part of it. Virginia, who's his cousin, they have that relationship.
Oh, yikes.
And
okay.
She was 18 at the time. Or maybe they married when she was, no, she was 18 at the time. She was younger when they married. But so I got really into, the history and then creating another story within that, where I kind of like got to make those characters my own.
Is there a play of yours that you are the most proud of, that you think is either the best or the one that's closest to your heart of hearty hearts?
I have a hard time saying that, because there are different reasons for different plays to mean a lot to me. The play that sort of got me the most traction as a playwright is called Spain, and that kind of got the most productions. It's also the one that most critics didn't understand. So I still suffer the wounds of Spain as much as, I still love that play that I wrote in my, like early mid 20s. But, then I've written a recent play that's an adaptation of a Thornton Wilder's first novel. That I love for completely other reasons.
Can I ask you, because you've had productions of your plays and a lot of readings and a lot of workshops, and things, you haven't made Broadway. I don't think you've had a major off-Broadway or regional.
I have. For better or worse, I've had that happen at MCC in 2007.
Oh, man.
When I say for better or worse, I mean I'm no longer eligible for a lot of other, grants, prizes, things like that, productions.
Because you have a professional credit. You've got to, yeah.
Once
Okay,
you
but
become
is it worth it? Is it, to just write play after play and it might get done or gets done here or there? You don't make, diddly do, especially if you can't get grants or things like that or win prizes anyway. Is it really, you can't stop yourself because you're a writer, but is it really worth going through the rigmarole and the pain and the birthing process and the editing of being a playwright?
I think it's a tricky question. For me, it was when I was in my teens, I kind of was identified or self-identified as a playwright, winning contests and, getting to college that way and then going through grad school and a dramatic writing program. So it was, a huge part of both my identity and what I loved doing. And then it was also the first thing that I really got like professional artistic recognition for and paid for. So in that sense, that was worth it. I have certain attitude now that I'm, in my 40s and dealing with, there's no way that I can be a hot young playwright now. There's no way that I can have my first, premiere New York production. So it's like, from that side of things, I don't even know quite how to answer, is it worth it? Other than it's what happened. It's what I've done. I haven't been doing a lot of playwriting in the last 2 years, honestly. And especially in the last year.
Yeah. Why bother? Well, who knows what plays are going to be in a year from now,
I think I'm kind of like, I have balanced songwriting and playwriting mostly in my kind of creative output. And right now I am so deeply into songwriting that's what gives me both more satisfaction and I just have more venues and avenues for expression.
Speaking of the music, speaking of the songwriting, back in 2006 or whenever it was when you were on Dave's Gone By with Dave, you brought the band in. Is it the same personnel? Are they the same Randy Bandits, basically, or one or two gone, or how is it?
Yeah, there have been a couple swaps since 2006. So Chris Q. Murphy is definitely was there. Russ Kaplan was there, met with you. I think my old friend, roommate, bosom buddy, Stephen Alaman was there, but he moved to Nashville in, I believe, 2007. And then Spiff Wiegand, I think, was there too.
Spiff, I remember listening. There was a Spiff. Oh no, I thought it. No, but
so what happened between 2006 and 2009, which was our next album, Golden Arrow, was that Stephen moved to Nashville. Spiff was still very much with us. My brother ended up coming out from California to live in New York, and I, roped him into being our drummer for about 3 years, which is great. He's a multi-instrumentalist. He has a doctorate in composition now. He's brilliant. Also Regina Bain was part of the whole mix. So from album to album, we kind of gained my brother. Stephen wasn't involved in the second album, but the core kind of group and also the inspiration of the Bandits, whatever the personnel shifts are, kind of remained constant. And then for this latest album, it's actually the same personnel that was on Golden Arrow. So Jay Buchanan came in on bass. That was another big change, to have a steady bass player. Sonny's on drums, got Russ on keys, Chris is on guitar, and Regina Bain does sort of like a guest vocal on one song.
So were you, when you were dealing with you have a recent, pretty new album out as the Randy Band, just came out, a couple of weeks ago, right? Or
Yeah.
What's it called?
Blue Reunion.
So you have Blue Beard. And
Red Beard.
No, God, it's Red Beard, and I have what's with the colors? Wait, what? No.
There's no philosophy behind it. It just started happening and I went with it, because is it Ween that has the different colored albums or something? And
I don't know. I have Ween-ness, but I don't know from Ween.
There have been many black albums, but we, after coming up with an album title, I don't know if you've done this, is an arduous process, especially if you're working with other people where everybody's suggesting things all the time.
Right.
Is it going to be Queen Mab? Is it going to be, Thumb on My Nose, whatever? And then, so the first one we landed on Redbeard for no particular reason. And then the next one was like, well, what if we had another color thing in there? So we made it Golden Arrow. I had also, in between that, I had still have a play called Green Man, which is a play that I like, where I did a couple songs for and then expanded into this secret album that we recorded but never quite released. But I sort of released a couple years ago. So you got Redbeard, Green Man, Golden Arrow, and now you have Blue Reunion.
And I guess so. Pretty soon you're gonna have to do ochre or
Well,
poker
we're going,
face.
I mean, I'm taking suggestions already. I mean, my first idea was like silver streakers, like saving that for when like
When
in
you're
our
older,
70s,
yeah.
just
Yeah,
like us running through a retirement home or like that.
chartreuse mousse would be another good one. That might work for you.
What is it again?
Chartreuse mousse.
Chartreuse moose. Just like with the big moose, that gives us an animal to work with.
Just buy one of those boxes of the 64 colors of the Crayola and go through them. You know, burnt umber. That's right.
Burnt umber would be great. Yeah, sienna.
Yeah.
There's also sienna. I mean, that's
We'd like to do a number from umber for you, and then you just lunch right in. There you go.
right.
So,
A number.
Well, let me ask you though, in terms of, were you planning to, when you were putting this album out before all this? Well, no, you put this out during this, so it's not like you were going to tour to promote it.
Well, here's what happened. I was like, it's been 11 years since I've recorded a Randy Bandits album. I begged many friends for money, and they were very generous, so they helped me fund it. And then found a studio to work with, an engineer to work with, and we started recording at the beginning of 2020. So like in January, February, even into March, before everyone got locked down,
Yeah.
you know, we kind of knew something was coming. So there was a little bit of a desperation to making sure we got some stuff tracked. But we got enough tracked. And then everybody went into their little isolation caves, and it was me working remotely with the engineer to kind of mix everything, and then the master. And, you know, so we got really lucky in that we all got to be in the same room recording together. So, you know, what you hear is us, you know, rehearsed, all the instrumentals were together. I tracked most of the vocals separately.
But it didn't make sense to do it and release it now as opposed to waiting until, I don't know, June of 2021.
That might have made more logistical sense in some ways, but for me, it had been so long since we had an album. I was like, I promised this to everybody who funded it and kind of to myself that I was going to release an album of our songs, my songs this year. And I also just feel like it is a 2020 album in a lot of ways, even like Blue Reunion in terms of Blue kind of sad and getting together, but also Expectation looking together. And then even since the election, since the Blue side won, it's a Blue reunion. We're getting back together. So
blue everywhere. Well, a little bit of red, because I like
to wear a little bit of blue in your
So
team.
you know what, Jim? Let us, since we have a little bit of time, why don't we, if you don't mind? I assume you have a song prepared from the new album. Yes, do you? I'm hoping.
Sure, I could play anything from the new album, really.
We'll play whatever you choose, and we will hear some Jim Knable music, because we're really in Knable here on the Dave's Gone By program. I'm going to step away and let Jim take the floor.
All right. Well, this is a song I wrote in 2017, so keep that in mind. And it's hopefully grown and will be outdated next year. The machine is in the steeple, and it is not all right. Giving power to the people, and it is not all right. The bluebird fell the eagle, and it is not all right. Everything is not all right. When they say he will get better, it is not all right. When they say you can't write letters, it is not all right. When your chains are turned to fetters, it is not all right. Everything is not all right. It's only rock and roll, but it is not all right. Going for an evening stroll, but it is not all right. The police are on patrol, and it is not all right. Everything is not all right. Through the chants and all the candles, it is not all right. Taking all that I can handle, it is not all right. And the Visigoths and Vandals say it's not all right. Everything is not all right. Pledge allegiance to the nation, it is not all right. You can take a paid vacation, it is not all right. Tell the doctors and the patients, it is not all right. Everything is not all right. You can't tell Jesus and Mohammed that it is not all right. Tell Moses and the Brahmins that it is not all right. Hanging on to hell is common, it is not all right. Everything is not all right. Tell the women and the men it's not all right. One more time again, it's not all right. This is not the end, and it is not all right. Everything is not all right. Everything is not all right.
Oh, and let me tell you, it's rather interesting because I have a friend who is paralyzed completely down the left side of his body. So he is all right. If you think about that, I don't know what that means. I'm very sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, we are chatting with and listening to singer, songwriter, and playwright Jim Knable. Now, Jim, we're going to talk to you a little bit longer, but remember, in just a few minutes, we will also be asking you to join Dave and his good friends, David Sheward and Leslie Hoban Blake, in playing the
Explain that most people don't score.
the today, yesterday trivia quiz. So don't be nervous about that. A lot of times we have first timers on it and they get terrible scores. It's all right. There's no prizes involved.
I have no expectations, and I don't mind failing publicly.
There you go. See, failing in public, that is my life. That is my destiny on this planet, is to fail in public. I'm proud of it. But let me ask you also, I did not expect this from your look and from your name. You are a tribe person. You are a Yidel, yes?
I'm half tribal on the wrong side. So my dad's Jewish.
Oh, so what is your mom?
Not Jewish.
Wait,
She's like, Pennsylvania Christian, whatever that is. I think she barely knows which kind of Christian she is.
so were you raised interfaith or no faith, or what were you?
I was raised with an awareness that people had faith. We were mainly, Democrats. That was kind of the faith in the household.
So essentially Jewish, in a manner of speaking, left liberal.
Intellectually, yes, absolutely, yeah. I mean, my father's side were definitely LA Jews in the sense that they, ate Chinese food and talked about things intellectually and liked art. And sometimes, they cared about Hanukkah and other holidays, but it was sort of a coming and going kind of thing. My dad always wished that he had a Christmas tree growing up, so he had that kind of Jewish.
So how much goes into your wife? What is she?
She comes from a Catholic family that's like legit Catholic. And again, they've also gotten more liberal through the years. Her parents have. And a large family. She got 6 siblings.
All right.
So total 7 kids.
The Catholics would.
They did it right. But it's interestingly, I found a lot of my close friends and relationships have been with Catholic people. And I don't know why. Maybe there's certain like intensity or.
Wow, that's your cross to bear. But seriously, but did you have to make a decision about the children, or are they making their own decision?
Are you asking if they're circumcised?
Well, are they? The girl.
I'm not going to reveal that on it.
All right, fine, that's fine.
I'm just going to bring it up as a question.
Or take a tip from me. Yeah.
Same thing. So we had some friends over last night who definitely are Jewish and practicing. So we lit the Hanukkah.
But how do you know? Would you feel for horns? What do you know? They're definitely.
She works for a Jewish magazine called, I shouldn't name it either, but it's like she's legit and, Jewish feminist, super intellectual, and her daughters.
Lesbian? No, kidding. But yes.
Well, I mean, not actually not. But, so we did that. So far we've done 2 nights of Hanukkah in a row, which I think is a record for our household. We're hoping for 3 tonight.
Light the lights. Very good for you.
But we have a little book where we, read. I can't really do the prayers. Hebrew is beyond me, but we do stories about it, and we have a Christmas tree, and so we have St. Nicholas Day. There's an Advent calendar. We do all the holidays we can claim any relationship to.
Well, don't forget Shoah. Don't forget the miserable Jewish ones. Don't forget Yom Kippur, Shoah, Tisha B'Av. These are bring those to the children. They need to know how miserable the world is. You've got to instill that in them. Is an important thing. Let me ask you, one of the things that I do also enjoy reading, besides your plays and besides the things that you do other types of writing and freelance stuff and you review things, and I've discovered that your musical taste is very much kind of the producer of the show, Dave. You share a lot of taste about it, and you did a review just a few weeks ago of the new Bob Dylan album, Rough and Rowdy Ways. Yes. And I'm wondering, has it grown on you? Have you put it aside? Do you still listen to it as much as you did? Where, from what you were feeling about it, when you wrote about it was fresh. Yes. How has it lived with you for 4 or 5 months since?
When I wrote about it, it was a second listen, kind of reacting based on what I knew was coming. And it's only gotten deeper for me. I don't listen to it all the time right now, but I keep coming back to it. I really actually love it a lot. I love it a lot more than Tempest.
Tempest is the best.
Most recent original album. But I loved Love and Theft in 2001, and that was sort of a soundtrack, a post 9/11, starting on 9/11 soundtrack. It was released on September 11th, 2001.
Right. Yeah.
And Modern Times, I also really enjoy. But I feel like the new album gets to another area that I think is a direct result of his having delved into the Frank Sinatra songbook for the past few years, where he's
God knows he did.
even if it's not directly related, you can still tell like something knocked him around a little bit, and he's come up with a new way of expressing himself that I love. Speaking of doing things in public, I love seeing him go to the well in public, which is something that he's done throughout his career, where he had a couple folk albums in the 90s, World Gone Wrong. When in his career is like, what am I doing right now? I'm not really sure. He goes and like releases these albums of him doing cover songs. In the past 2 years, it's been this like head scratching thing of like, why is he doing,
And maybe that's just he needed to do that for himself in order to remind him why he wanted to be a songwriter. Even if he isn't writing, the songs on the new album, Rough and Rowdy Ways, are not Rodgers and Hart. They're not that kind of writing at all. They're much more.
They're not, but they take some
poetry.
There are some different musical risks in terms of chord changes and things like that, where I can hear like, okay, he's not just doing 1-4-5 kind of progressions. And he's lyrically he's being, I think, even more adventurous and leaning into the fact that somebody gave him a Nobel Prize. It was like, okay, I guess I better earn this Nobel Prize in literature. So I really enjoy his lyrics on the new album. My least favorite song on it is probably the one that's got the most traction, which is the Murder Most Foul.
Really? Was it 57 minutes long? So like that.
Might as well. It's like 17 minutes. Apparently Fiona Apple plays piano on it. I just learned.
Oh, I did. Yeah. And I pick up a cup, I drink it up. There's a wall on the shelf. Then I'm touching myself. It's just like whatever comes into his head, he's gonna write it down. It's like Randy Newman writing at one point. There's a car outside. I think I'll go hide.
Yeah, I mean, like he had one of those on the what's the album that Time Out of Mind, the last track on that, which is like he's sitting in a coffee shop and a waitress comes and fills up his cup and asks him about women authors and
right. Or Erica Jong and
lesbian. Yes, there's some great lines in that, but it's like, yeah, I looked at my shoe and I thought about you. It's
true, and it's true. I can rhyme also. So let me ask you last question before we have you play one more tune and bring some other people in. What is your favorite album, either song or album of all time? Now we know you love "Time Out of Mind," Dylan. I don't know if that's your favorite. Oh, I'm sorry, not "Time Out of Mind." "Love and Theft." It was your favorite of all time. What is your favorite song by anybody ever?
Do I like to do song or album?
Both.
Okay.
A jerk. Both.
Again, I'm going to be a jerk and say it's going to be what I'm most interested in right now. And song, it's all going to be Guy Clark. So LA Freeway, the Guy Clark song, off of Old Number One, which is his first album. But Guy Clark is a guy who's sort of within the circle of kind of outlaw liberal Nashville or Texas songwriters in the 70s into 80s. He's kind of like the guy who brought them all together. Like he and his wife Susanna inspired and nurtured a lot of people, but he was also just a really brilliant songwriter on his own. And I first learned about him actually in Nashville at the Country Music Museum. Oh, wow. When I was like, I've always been into Chris Christopherson and Willie Nelson. But it was, okay, this is a guy named Guy Clark. I should figure out who he is. And then he came up my radar again, actually, when Justin Townes Earle died. This often happens for me. People die and I find out about them.
Yeah.
I got really into Justin Townes Earle after he died, and then discovered his dad, and then that led me on a train through Townes Van Zandt, and then back to Guy Clark. And that's what I'm really into right now. So cool. I'm going to say Old Number One.
Jim Knable is not going to be playing a Guy Clark song unless you want to, but you are going to play one more tune before we get into bringing Dave back into the program to do the Today, Yesterday quiz for this Saturday, December 12th. So Jim, what song are we going to close out this interview with? It can be from the new album, but it doesn't have to be.
I might, because we're talking about Jewish things, I might go for a Jewish song.
Yes!
From the But we didn't even talk about my days as the Jubador, like from 2015 through 18.
All right, very quickly, because I got we have one or two guests who are waiting to come in. So tell very quickly about the Jubador stuff.
Okay. It's just the Unorthodox podcast, which is still going strong. It's one of the most popular podcasts in the world. But for reasons unknown, I became the Jubador for that, even given my questionable Jewish heritage. So this was probably the most successful song from that I'm going to play. It's called Holocaust Survivor Beauty Pageant Cutie Pie, based on a real event that happened in Haifa, Israel. Look at you rolling down the aisle, you survivor. Look at that beautiful smile as it shines. Think of every time you thought you'd never get out alive. You're a Holocaust survivor, beauty pageant, cutie pie. Think of the horror people do unto each other. Think of man's search for meaning as he dies. Think of everything you've lost and can't recover, but know why. You're Holocaust survivor, beauty pageant, cutie pie. You survive, you survive. When by every kind of right you should have died. You're alive, you're alive. Now you're at the beauty pageant, but you never even tried. Now you're at the beauty pageant, and you never should have tried. And now the guards, they were watching from the tower. And as soldiers, they came in after the war. And you tried to go home, but there wasn't a home to find. You're a Holocaust survivor, beauty pageant, cutie pie. You survive, you survive. When by every kind of right you should have died. You're alive, you're alive. And you never could have tried. Now you're at the beauty pageant, and you never could have tried.
Jim Knable there. I'm Dave Lefkowitz, by the way, the host and producer of Dave's Gone By. Jim, I think I speak for everybody. Say, what the fuck? Where did that song come from?
Seriously. Well, that came from a news item that was on the Unorthodox podcast that I heard shortly into my time of being the Jubador there.
Yeah.
As a Jubador, I would come onto the sort of hour-long podcast and sing a song. It started with me singing a song based on letters to them. It was kind of a funny hit. And then this, based on this news item, I heard about a Holocaust survivor beauty pageant. And I was like,
okay. Yeah.
So I was picturing, like, what would the song be that they would sing? Here you are.
So this is when they were parading, like the Miss Sarajevo song, kind of. Yeah.
And it's like, that is my taste entirely, and I think a little bit yours, where there's a dark humor there, but there's also like a poignancy, and when I'm able to balance those things, I think that's who I really am. So. Wow.
Jim Knable. Jim, thank you for, first of all, talking to Rabbi Saul Solomon on Dave's Gone By. It's been great to have you in the Daverhood, but you're not going away because we are adding people. Here we go, because it's time to play a game. Ladies and gentlemen, we have our great friends of the Daverhood connecting with us. First of all, we've got David Sheward, former head of the drama desk and now a writer and blogger. Sorry? And well, I think Leslie won a game or two also. So they go back and forth in the game.
Dave,
Yes.
Dave, hi. I'm trying to come on. I'm having trouble,
Is it?
but I will be there momentarily.
That is the voice of Leslie Hoban Blake, a theater director and longtime theater critic. She is the co-host of Critic Circle and also the longtime co-host of the Two on the Aisle Theater Review Show with our friend Charlie Gross. David Sheward, he writes for, well, he used to write for Backstage. He also now writes for the David Desk. Oh, I've forgotten this week. It's sometheaterlife.com.
Right.
And Creative Something.
Cultural Weekly.
Cultural Weekly, damn it.
Culturalweekly.com.
Culturalweekly.com.
Yes.
And you are all saying hello to our friend of the Daverhood, Jim Knable, a playwright and a musician.
Hello.
Head of the Randy Bandits. Hey. Hello,
Hi,
everybody.
guys.
Hi.
There's Leslie. Leslie, we can see you, and I think we can hear you.
I can't see me. I'm on my phone. My there's something screwy with my computer, so I'm just on my phone. Hello. Good
The
morning.
queen of technical difficulties is with us, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right. That's me. A different story every week, right?
It basically is.
Wow.
But it's great that you're all here. It's great that you're ready to play the today, yesterday quiz. It's not just theater questions, by the way, and I'll read by the way, before, I always want to jump into things and not be like, how are you guys feeling? How are you guys doing?
Good. Not too bad.
Surprisingly well, all things considered.
I'm very happy about the Supreme Court's decision last night.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Have you guys in the past few weeks, you both, Leslie, live in Manhattan. David, you live in Brooklyn also, like Jim? Queens. So have you eaten indoors over the past couple of months? Have you gone into a restaurant? And
Occasionally.
Yeah.
Occasionally.
No, I have. Go ahead, David. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Occasionally I have. We've eaten outdoors also.
Right.
And occasionally we have eaten indoors. Earlier this summer, we were upstate, my husband and I, and we were staying near Syracuse, in the Finger Lakes area. And there were quite a few, and there they were allowing indoor dining, but everybody was at a distance.
Right. What about you, Jim? Did you, you're out in Brooklyn. I don't know how.
Yeah, I mean, when the whole indoor dining shutdown thing happened, I was like, I can't think of anywhere nearby that has indoor dining. So I'm.
Right. Well, they certainly won't. I don't know. Is Brooklyn going to be affected the way New York City is starting Monday?
I think
I can speak for New York City. I mean, I can speak for Manhattan. I live on 10th Avenue. Well, I live on 12th Avenue and 42nd, but my neighborhood restaurants are on 10th Avenue in the 40s.
Yeah.
And all of them had both outdoor and indoor dining for a while. I've eaten outdoors. I'm having brunch tomorrow for what I think is the last time outdoors because it'll be 50. And then the weather plummets to 40 and 30 for the rest of the
snow
month.
is on the way, yeah.
I know. So tomorrow's my farewell brunch outdoors. But the restaurant that I'm going to is owned by a friend of mine, Jacob Cohen. It's Meme on
Jewish. Yeah.
Very, very much so. Very much Jewish. But it's a Mediterranean restaurant. It's a really lovely place. And I don't know what they're going to do. I just have no idea. They don't know what they're going to do. I mean, I feel for them terribly.
Well, they're doing takeout, and maybe they'll put chairs out in the middle of traffic so that people can eat outdoors.
The question of that, if it's cold. I mean, 2 weeks ago, I saw people eating outside. It was 42 degrees. I thought, wow, stalwart,
But aren't they putting like heaters and tents, or is that not safe?
There weren't any heaters on where the people were eating. I've done that outdoors with the heating, and it's bizarre. And I won't even sit inside one of those places with the plastic. I mean, to me, that's just a petri dish,
Yeah, I know, right? Aside from the breathing, and because people, you're eating, the mask is off. Then you got.
I don't mind if it's open on all sides. Then I see the air coming through. I mean, they tell you in a taxi cab to keep the windows open.
Wow.
So why would you go to a restaurant?
Yeah.
And
Wow.
sit inside
But
a
that's just
plastic.
I fart incessantly when I'm in a taxi, so it's really for the driver's sake. Yeah.
Like Rudy Giuliani.
What?
Like Rudy Giuliani.
I don't get it.
Yes.
No, did you say fart?
Yeah, I did. What did you think?
Our dear friend Rudy Giuliani. Yes.
You didn't see that
I
Giuliani
remember him
farted during that Michigan.
No.
No, we all saw the hair dye. Right? What happened to you?
Another time he was in this. It was when he was testifying with the blonde woman who
The blonde bimbo. Yes, you were right. You started to say bimbo. You were
I
right.
stopped myself because that's not very nice. But she did.
No, it's not, but it's true.
And he audibly, what do they call it? Flatulated.
Cut one. Yeah, all right. But I've done that.
But here's a question.
That's what we've turned into.
Yes.
But here's a question. That's not on the list of symptoms. They tell you, your sense of taste, your sense of smell, headaches and fever. They don't tell you farting. They don't say that. That's
I've definitely
one of the
heard. I've heard intestinal problems and stomach problems are up there. Like,
Really?
yeah.
Okay. Good morning. Hi. I'm sorry we weren't properly introduced. Hello.
Nice to meet you and your bear.
Jim was up on the now.
Leslie, nice to meet you. David, I feel like I already know you because I've seen you a couple times on here, but I never actually.
Thank you.
You're a celebrity in my mind.
I would have him do the waitress.
Oh yeah, David. Let's do. Since Jim was kind enough to sing a couple of songs for us, can you do your specialty? It's at some point we'll do the Mr. Peabody, but can you do the waitress?
Well, what you talking about, love? I don't know what you mean. Would you like?
She's suddenly gone southern.
love?
What happened? Did she move? She sounds like she's from Kentucky.
No,
What's
she's
going
not
on?
English there.
No, I was doing English. There's some similarities between English and Southern, so I get it.
Yes, well, the original speech pattern, yes, if you want to go there, of course.
Yeah, totally Appalachian. Yeah.
I don't know. I have to get more in the higher register. It's more like Graham Chapman. You played the role, and he.
Yes, it always sounded like Graham Chapman. This morning, it sounded more like Dolly Parton on a tear.
All right, I have to think more like Graham Chapman then, like this.
Yes, yes.
Oh, or like, my favorite is also when he's the mother and they're serving that was disgusting. What's for afters? Well, there's rat pudding, rat cake, rat pie, and strawberry tart. Strawberry tart? Well, there's not too much rat in it. How many? 3. Rather a lot, really. I'll have some strawberry tart without too much rat in it.
Well, the man knows his Python, let me tell you, and in a sexual way too. But ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what that means. It's time for our Today, Yesterday quiz that we do every week here. It's trivia questions that we ask our 3 participants. And oh boy, I forgot, go figure, I forgot to pull up the roll a die. This is the most important thing. Really the most important thing we do all show.
And this will take half an hour, so don't worry. Just lean back and drink your coffee.
So where in Queens are you, David?
I'm in Jackson Heights.
Oh, cool.
So here's the deal. We're going to, and I will start with our guest, Jim, and then the 2 of you guys, and ask you guys to pick a number between 1 and 6. So Jim, you get to pick first.
3.
3 for Jim. And then ladies first, Leslie.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for being old-fashioned. I won't say the obvious. I'll take my usual 6. Thank you.
Leslie will take her usual 6, and David.
No, you gave me a funny look, David. I was going to say male chauvinist, but I didn't say it. Thank you.
When you said, "I'll take my usual 6," I said that's what you said last night.
Oh, thank you.
It's like you're Brett Summers and I'm Charles Nelson Riley.
Yes, it's like that. That's exactly what it's like.
And I would say 1.
So David Sheward goes for the number 1. So David has 1, Jim has 3, and Leslie has 6. What we're going to do, and all this does is decide who goes first. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm rolling the virtual die, and it comes up with a number 4. So the closest person to the number 4 is Jim. So Jim, you can decide, do you want to go first or second or third in the game?
I will go first.
Jim Knable will go first.
Smart move, Jim.
Okay.
I just get it over with. See what happens.
Yeah.
So I'm going to roll the die again. And what the hell? Why didn't I'm going to roll the die again. Come on, roll, please. It doesn't want to roll for me. Hold on. Here we go.
That's what you said last night.
Oh, jeepers.
David is on it. David's lit.
He's going to do that until Lin-Manuel Noriega comes in and stops it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next number that came up on the die is the number 2. which David is closer to. So
Okay.
David, you get to decide, do you want to go second or third?
I will go second.
So David Sheward will go
Do
second.
you have them all read from Time Stand Still?
Joyce mentioned.
So I have no choice in this matter at all. I get to go, sloppy thirds over here. Okay.
We said that
Don't
last
you
time. All right,
dare
ladies
say
and
it,
gentlemen.
David. Don't you dare say it, David.
Too late. Too late. All right. It's time to play the Today Yesterday game. It's a trivia quiz. And basically, we ask a question, and then the person to whom the question is addressed gets to try and answer it. If they get it right, they get 2 points. If they do not get it right, we roll a die, and then we figure out who gets to try and steal the question and get the 2 points instead. Okie dokie?
Just tell
Okie dokie.
Jim it's
All right.
yes.
And yeah, essentially, Joyce, my wife Joyce is saying, Jim, it's just controlled chaos. That's basically all it is. So going
I'm
first,
just going to do what you tell me to do.
I lost my pen. Here we go. So the first question is going to go to Jim Knable, who is going first. And here it is. A year you might remember well, 1408. Oh, but I should mention, if you don't know the show, if you haven't seen it, all these questions are things that happened in history on December 12th, because this is December 12th, 2020. So every one of these is something that happened in the world on December 12th. On December 12th, 1408, Sigismund, the Holy Roman Emperor and King of Hungary, created this monarchic. He's like, Holy Roman Emperor, King of Hungary, created this monarchic society, which was fashioned after the military orders of the Crusades. Was it? It's a multiple choice.
Oh, good.
Oh.
Order of the Cross, Order of the Dragon, Order of the Crusade, Order of Nuremberg. I'll read the question again. The year was 1408. Sigismund, the Holy Roman Emperor, King of Hungary, created this monarchic society fashioned after the military orders of the Crusades. Was it Order of the Cross, Order of the Dragon, Order of the Crusade, Order of Nuremberg?
Well, I mean, before you gave me multiple choice, I was going to say Florida, but I'm going to go with Order of the Dragon.
I missed, what would you say? I didn't hear it. No, what was your actual answer though?
Dragon.
Order of the Dragon. Is that, though, and we do get to ask our people this, just like they do on NPR, is that your final answer?
Yes.
You have already done better than so many of the guests who come in.
Good guess.
Jim Knable gets 2 points.
That was the
Was
coolest
that an
one.
inspired guess, or how did you know? What made you?
It just sounded right because of where it was, and I knew it wasn't Nuremberg. That didn't sound right. So the other ones are too boring. So Dragon, Hungarian, it felt right.
Let me tell you, it was inspired by the Order of St. George, 100 years later. So St. George and the Dragon, and was also, this is kind of cool, it inspired the name of Vlad the Impaler's dad, Vlad Dracul, which means Vlad the Dragon or Devil. So
There you
go figure.
That's my name's name.
And David, it was also Bruce Lee's favorite.
What was the
Order of the Dragon?
I order from the Dragon twice a week, and they give egg roll. It's pretty good. But anywho, ladies and gentlemen,
but you can't enter there anymore, right? You can't enter since the indoor stuff.
Not when you were fired.
Oh, I get it. I get it.
I know. I'm sorry.
I apologize.
Peabody. Oh, Mr. Peabody.
We have a 2 point.
Do old Mr. Grant. I think that would
Can you do old Mr. Grant also?
Oh,
you mean like
Grant.
Oh, you mean
Well,
like
maybe Leslie, that can be yours, and David can do old Mr. Peabody.
Mary Richards? Okay.
Oh, Mr. Grant. I actually don't. My voice is too low for Mary Richards. I'm sorry.
Well, maybe Bear can do it. Can Bear do it?
Oh, Bear's looking good.
Oh, Mr. Grant. No, that sounds like something on
That
Mr.
sounds like-
Ed.
That sounds like
That sounds like Mr. Ed.
that sounds like Granny Walton or something.
Granny Walton's singing on a vibrator. I don't know what the hell that was, but anywho.
Well, blame it on the bear, guys. Blame it on the bear. Ain't my fault.
All right. Well, it's time for question. Yeah, we're doing a quiz here, Jim. Just so you know. The second question goes to David Sheward.
Okay.
December 12th, 1694.
Okay.
The Royal Society censured scientist Edmund Halley for suggesting that this biblical event was caused by the impact of a comet.
Oh.
Was it, this is a multiple choice, the creation of the universe, the destruction of the Garden of Eden, the destruction of the Tower of Babel, the Great Flood?
Oh, that's interesting. I was, Halley, I guess that's connected with the comet. So he's suggesting that one of those events, okay, so it's not the creation of the universe, because that would be like, you know, a chicken and the egg thing. How can there be a universe if there's no comet to create it? That doesn't make any sense. So we're saying the destruction of the Tower of Babel, which I think was more anecdotal. The Garden of Eden is also anecdotal, so that leaves the flood. I'll say the flood.
But is that your final
Yes.
answer?
Yes, it is.
Well, David Sheward, I'm afraid you're all wet because you're right. It was indeed the Great Flood. Well done.
Okay.
David, may I just ask, isn't it all anecdotal? You're saying it as if it's all true. It's all anecdotal.
What was the
Well-
science thing? Was there a...
Nothing. It's
Well-
an irreligious remark. Don't worry
Well,
about it.
the flood is the one that's least anecdotal. Let's put it that
I
way.
see.
Mm.
Okay.
Maybe not the whole world, but maybe there was a big flood at that
What
time.
happened was-
I mean, all the major religions call it, right? Everybody says
Yeah.
there was some kind of flood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
the Mormons is just a toilet backing up. They were don't even know what. But the thing
It was God's toilet backing up.
yeah.
Halley wasn't the only one who suggested it at the time, but he was the one who got censured for that idea that the flood was the problem. Scientists have discounted, by the way, his theory anyway. So, but he was the guy. He was the comet guy, and this was his thing. Well done. So we have a 2-2 game, but now, Leslie, you get a question, and you get to maybe tie the game up 3 ways, which is what you asked for last night. Here we go. December 12th, 17... Okay, all right, David, you can do, oh no, Mr. Peabody on that.
Oh, Mr. Peabody.
Thank you. 1792 was the year Ludwig van Beethoven gets his first music lesson. Who gave it to him? Now, here's a hint, and it's a multiple choice. This composer spent many years as a choir boy before his own real musical training. Okay, but here are the multiple choices.
So the question basically is, who was Beethoven's first teacher?
Yeah, your first music
Okay. I
teacher.
just want to make sure I understood the question. Okay.
Helen Keller.
It's not your turn. It's not your turn. Hush.
No.
Too soon. It's way too soon.
Hush.
Look, that's just a very big stickler for the rules. So we're yeah.
Can I give you the answer without the 3 question, without the 3?
If you do it, I certainly will not. Well, if you get it wrong, I'll give you one. Well, how do you guys feel about that?
Can I do it? Wait, can I do it, Dr. Sue? If I get it right, can I get 6 points instead of 2?
No, how about guys? Are you okay if I give her an extra half point if she gets it right without the? No, I'm saying
No,
no.
David Sheward, that was because I watched last week and I thought it was very funny. I wanted an extra half a point for breathing.
Dr. whatever her name is, who
Dr. Sue, yeah.
Dr. Sue wanted extra points for everything.
I know.
Because I grew my nails out. Can I get 3 points for that?
Yeah. I woke up this morning.
Guys, am I being slow this morning, or are you being slow? It was a joke, and it was way back in the beginning of all that.
I woke up this morning and I'm breathing. Can I have 2 points?
Yes, exactly.
That's
I believe I happen to know who Beethoven's first teacher was, though, because it's a question we've spoken about this guy before.
Well, go ahead.
So do you want to?
If I'm right. Well, okay. You know what? I'll stop being a show off. Give me the 3 choices.
The choices are, there are actually 4 of them. This was Ludwig van Beethoven's first music lesson from someone who spent many years as a choir boy before his own musical training. Was it Lin-Manuel Noriega? I think we can discount that one. Was it Franz Joseph Haydn, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, Carl Philipp Emanuel Bach, or Francesco Zappa?
You made that last one up. That's Frank Zappa, right? You made that last one up.
Did I?
Was there actually a teacher? Was there actually an Italian? Okay, forget it. It's okay. It's Haydn. I know it's Haydn.
Why do you
But I knew
know?
it was Haydn.
Why?
What?
Why
See,
did you know?
I either saw it on Jeopardy once or I learned it in class once. It's one of those nutsy things that sticks in your head.
No, because usually the great thing about both David and Leslie, sometimes they'll get an answer and they'll
In
just
a
go,
movie, I know.
I saw it in this movie which starred so and so and was directed by so and
No,
so.
I
And in
don't
that
remember
movie-
any movie about it, but
Yeah.
it just had to do with the idea that, because we used to sing that song in class, Papa Haydn's dead and gone, but his memory lingers on, and we would sing it to the tune of one of Haydn's pieces. So we learned a lot about Haydn as a result. It was just
Well,
a
there you
crazy
go.
thing.
Did you know that he actually, they just unearthed a bunch of symphonies that he wrote with Ferdinand Gossik? What, you never play Haydn?
I-
Oh, Seek and Haydn, yeah, I got you,
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Mr.
Did I get my
Peabody.
points or did I not get my points here while we're playing this?
Oh, but I didn't mention, by the way, you won. You won the
you.
question. You got your 2 points.
Thank you.
That
That's
was
what I
that
wanted
was
to know.
correct. Haydn,
That was a
by the
real
way,
Mr.
Haydn, sorry?
Peabody one. That was a real Mr. Peabody one, that hide and go seek one.
I know.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Haydn, by the way, also
Worthy-
mentored
Worthy
Mozart.
of Bullwinkle.
And by the way, little extra thing. Yes, Virginia, and yes, Leslie. Francesco Zappa was a real composer who lived from 1717 to
Really?
1803. And Frank Zappa put out an album of him doing Francesco Zappa's
Really?
classical compositions, but he did it on modern instruments and synthesizers and synclaviers and things like that.
But they each had the name without any connection to the other. Is that the idea?
Yeah, he knew there was somebody,
Okay.
he had literally somebody else's name. Let me check out this guy's music. And he put, being Frank Zappa, he put out an entire album called Francesco
I think
Zappa.
Tupac did that too.
Tupac also did it. Joyce is right.
I thought you threw that in as a Dave Lefkowitz pun. You know, I
I
thought it
kind
was
of
just
did, but he was an actual
No,
composer who lived at the time that Beethoven did. So which is kind of cool.
and was never heard of again from the sound of it.
Until Frank Zappa unearthed him.
That's right. That's right.
And what's weird is Zappa was born in Italy, but he spent most of his time in the Netherlands. And we know how many great composers came out of there. So this is, I don't know if this has ever happened. We have a 3-way tie. I'm so excited. All 3 of our contestants have 3 points. Oh, sorry, 2
Good
points.
stuff.
That's because
now.
you got 3 smarties here, right? That's the
Yes. Well, 3 people are versed in culture and history, which is kind of neat. But now we go back to Jim, because Jim, we get your second question directly here. The year is
Okay.
1821. Born today in Rouen, France, was this author whose novel Salammbô scandalized Europe and whose last unfinished novel, Bouvard et Péchuchet, obsessed him when he wasn't worried about his venereal diseases. Name him. I'll read the question again.
Oh, I don't get
Your
choices for this one?
pronunciation is hurting the question. I hate to tell you.
Thank you. It is. 1821, 1821 was the year. Born in Rouen, France. Okay, Leslie, you can help me. Am I pronouncing Rouen right?
It's wrong, but that's close enough. We could get that.
Wrong?
It's the next part about the name of the of the book. That's the problem.
Was
Go
this
ahead.
author whose novel Salammbô scandalized
That's
Europe
fine.
and whose last unfinished novel, Bouvard et Péchuchet, was it? You seem to know. Obsessed him when he wasn't worried about his venereal diseases. Name that writer, fellow writer, Jim.
Okay. I'm pretty sure it's not Victor Hugo. I'm also pretty sure it's not the Marquis de Sade. So I'm going to say Flaubert. I could be
Are you
entirely
going
wrong. I don't know French writers very well. So
Well, are you going to
Sure.
say that officially?
I'll-
or you
well, why
don't?
not? Sure. Yeah, I can't think of anyone else.
You are going with a flow bear.
Wow.
Well done.
Amazing.
Leslie has her own
I should
bear.
probably
but
read
you
one of
got
his books.
Bear. Yes. Well done, man. It was in fact. So what was I mispronouncing, Leslie? Was it Bouvard?
It's the last one, but I haven't got it in front of me, so I can't help you with the pronunciation. It's just, I can't, it's just, it was mangled. I'm sorry, Dave. I don't mean anything personal.
No, I know. No,
Hey,
I'm
you know, hey, Dave, we took a trip to France, didn't we? I mean, come on.
Well, is
We were
Flaubert
in Paris.
at Père Lachaise? Do we see him? Is his grave there? I don't know.
Flaubert's, yes.
So we probably stopped by his grave when we literally went
Probably.
to
We
Paris.
stopped by everybody else's grave.
Oh, yeah, we did Jim Morrison's, and we did
Yeah. And
Charles
Montmartre?
Aznavour, I think.
Well,
Montmartre, the cemetery there, is that where he's buried?
yeah, the Père Lachaise.
It's right on the outskirts of Paris, actually.
It's
Yeah.
near the opera. It's closer to the outskirts where the opera is.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so amazingly enough, I don't think this has ever happened where the first 4 questions have been gotten correct
Wow.
by all the contestants. Keep it going, guys.
Jim, you have to come back and play more. This is good
Yes.
competition.
That's exciting. Yeah.
Here we go. We have our next question, and this question will go to David Sheward.
Okay.
1912 was the year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's a theater question. Opening tonight at Broadway's Lyric Theater was The Firefly, the first musical success for this Czech-born composer who would go on to score The Vagabond King and Rose-Marie. Name him.
Okay, I think I should know this, but it's either Romberg, I think it's Romberg, or Frimmel, one of the two. Let me think. So it's The Firefly, and what are his other credits?
I will read the question. I always try and read the question twice in case people are playing at home. 1912 was the year. Opening tonight at the Lyric Theater was The Firefly, the first musical success for this Czech-born composer who would go on to score The Vagabond King and Rose-Marie. Name the composer.
Well, I'm trying to think. Romberg was the subject of a film called Deep in My Heart with Jose Ferrer. And if there is a number from Rose-Marie in Deep in My Heart, then that would be it. The only other name that comes to mind is Frimmel, who I think did have several other operettas on the New York stage at the time. And I think it's Sigmund Romberg. So I'm going to say Sigmund Romberg.
I'm afraid you are wrong about that one, David Sheward.
Okay.
That is not the correct answer. And so now, we haven't done this in a while. I've got to figure out how the next person can steal. Let me read the rules. I'm going to roll.
I may have given it away.
Gonna roll, maybe you didn't. But it's roll a die time to see who gets to maybe steal. Wait, oh, I'm sorry, in the wrong. Gotta get back to Google Chrome, gotta get back to roll a die. You've chosen your numbers. I'm going to roll that die. And the number that has come up is the number 5, which is closest to Leslie's number because she's number 6 throughout the game. So, Leslie, you can try and steal this question. Do you need me to read it again?
Can I have an extra point if I know his first name? It's Rudolph Frimmel.
Don't do a Dr. Sue.
Yeah.
Oh, what a Dr. Sue. I call the Dr. Sue rule.
I think that's just a legitimate point.
Yeah.
Indeed. So, but Leslie, are you going to go with that answer, though?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So
it was the one that came to my mind before you read any names at all, or before David spoke. So, yes.
So, Leslie, indeed, as Tom Lehrer said, that was quite Rudolph Frimmel. Well done. It wasn't Rudolph Frimmel.
Sorry, David.
No, that's all right.
But what's interesting is on that particular project, it was supposed to be Victor Herbert. He stormed off the project.
I didn't know that. If that had been the question, I wouldn't have known that answer.
He was working he was doing this thing where they were doing Naughty Marietta, and the soprano wouldn't do an encore. And so he fought with the director, and he just stormed off the project, and they got Frimmel instead to do Firefly.
But it's interesting because people know Victor Herbert, they know Sigmund Romberg. Nobody remembers Rudolph Frimmel. That name doesn't come up very often.
Today, nobody knows who Victor Herbert or Sigmund Romberg are.
Well, it's in the music world of people who care about operetta,
Yes.
The closest thing is when you watch Laurel and Hardy on like Thanksgiving or whatever. Martin Luther, that's it. That's when you hear it.
Martin Luther Soldier.
But anywho, all you protest hep cats, it's time for another question. Did anybody get that reference to Sweet Jane? So here we go. Let me see how we're doing with our points here. We have a tie between Jim and Leslie with 4 points each, and David, you're just a little bit behind with 2 points.
Okay.
We get to our 6th question, and that question does go to David, though. So you get to.
No, it
Oh,
goes
is it
to
me?
me.
No,
It
sorry.
goes to
Oh,
me.
I missed the last one, so
Right.
it's Leslie.
Oh, sorry, goes
It
to
goes
Leslie
to
directly.
me.
So you can build on your lead, Leslie.
To me, come on, it's my turn.
For me. All right.
I tried.
1915 was the year. Well, he didn't survive to 100.
I'm sorry, David, I didn't hear the
Oh,
year.
I'm sorry. I'll start again. The year was 1915.
Thank you.
December 12th is the day. Well, he didn't survive to 105, but Frank Sinatra was born today in Hoboken. Although in 1939, Sinatra was being paid $75 a week to sing with the Harry James Band, he soon got out of that contract to make $125 a week singing for another band leader. Who?
That is the most convoluted question you've come up with yet.
Isn't it? Yeah.
We're taking it from, we know he was born in Hoboken. 1939, did you say?
I'll read the question again, okay? On this date, back in 1915, Frank Sinatra was born. Although in 1939, he was being paid $75 a week to sing with the Harry James Band, he got out of that contract to make $125 a week singing for another band leader. Who?
I can only think of one. There's no multiple choice here, right?
No multiple choice, sorry.
Again, David Sheward will appreciate this. I think this comes from various movies I've seen, black and white swing time movies. But I think, and somebody stop me, I think it was Tommy Dorsey.
Oh, is that going to be your...
Well, yeah, I can't think of too many other band leaders who would have had him on. So yeah, I think it was Tommy Dorsey.
Of Dorse, you are right, ladies and gentlemen. Leslie Hoban Blake gets her 6th point by getting that answer correct. It was Tommy Dorsey.
By number 6 on the 6th question, how could I miss it?
Yeah. What? Sorry, I missed that. Okay, here we go.
I'm number 6. You gave me the 6th question. It had to be my 6th point.
Oh, so it's like a lucky number for you. And it's sort of 666, which is no.
Yes, which is so watch out, guys. Just watch out.
Well, Jim is going to be watching out for this next question because we got one for him.
For the record, I would have gotten the last 2 wrong completely.
What would you say?
Oh.
I'm very relieved that you got them, so I didn't have to deal with them. I wouldn't have gotten them. I was going to say like Duke Ellington or Count Basie.
I would have guessed Benny Goodman.
Yeah, so I mean,
Benny Goodman, that would have been a good choice. Yeah.
Yeah. Sun Ra could have been. No, I don't. Yeah. But anyway.
Did you say Sun Ra?
Yes. I
have a Sun Ra album, actually, believe it or not.
Some of them are actually listenable.
Oh, yeah.
Joyce says she dated Sun Ra. Really? How was he?
Is that before or after Lin-Manuel?
Did he shine? Was that before or after Lin-Manuel Noriega? She said it was hot. Yeah. Okay. Time for Jim's question.
What do you expect? I've been sequestered for like 10 months.
It's true. 1923 was the year. The birth is right. Bob Barker is born today in Washington State. Which of these is not true about The Price is Right? Okay. There's a multiple choice. The host's long, skinny microphone was designed so that original host Bill Cullen wouldn't have his chin blocked by the mic. When the show first started, home viewers could win prizes by mailing in their guesses on postcards. Was it a contestant once won a 2-year-old horse? Or one contestant's prize was a treadmill, which was really inappropriate because she was wheelchair bound and had no feet. So, okay.
Wait, was the number 2 question, did it have another question within it, or are those all 3 together?
There's 4. There's 4, and I'll read them.
Okay.
I'll do A, B, C,
D.
Yeah. 1923, The Birth is Right. Bob Barker, born today in Washington. Which of these is not true about the show The Price is Right? Is it A, the host's long, skinny microphone was designed so that original host Bill Cullen wouldn't have his chin blocked by the mic, much as yours is through most of the program, Jim?
I'm leaning, yeah.
Letter B, when the show first started, home viewers could win prizes by mailing in their guesses on postcards.
Mm-hmm.
C, a contestant once won a 2-year-old horse. Or D, one contestant's prize was a treadmill, really inappropriate because she was wheelchair bound and had no feet. Which of these is not true?
I'm gonna go with D
You can go with
because that sounds most like your sense of humor. So I'm gonna
Isn't
go
it?
with that being not true. Yeah,
Well, are you sure about that?
absolutely. Yeah.
Well, Jim, I'm afraid you don't have a leg to stand on because that actually happened.
My
That
God.
was- that was
Well, now we know. Now we
Oh,
have
what was
something
the
to
note?
say at the next cocktail party we go to.
And they got her treadmill. It's beautiful. That really, really
Jim?
happened.
Jim, what year do you expect that cocktail party to be?
That's a good guess. I would say, you mean an actual person?
Yeah.
Maybe 2000.
2023, maybe?
I was gonna say 25 to be safe, but
All right, I'm going to roll a die because you guys get to steal, perhaps.
Hey, you remember when I did to tell the truth? We talked about that.
Yeah.
Did you know that Bill Cullen limped? I mean, it was TV, so he never was shown walking because he had a very pronounced limp.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yes, I did not. No, I didn't.
I didn't know that either till I saw him do it,
Oh.
That's how I figured it out.
Now, I have rolled the one-sided die, and the die has come up, go figure, the number 6, which is Leslie's number.
I have
This is
no
the
idea.
thing.
You're going to have to read those. Well,
Sure.
we know it's not the last one, so
Yeah, we know it's not the
Either
one that, yeah.
it's a horse or something else. I don't know.
I'll tell you one thing, the contestant with no legs stumped Jim. David, I need to hear you. David, you need to say it. Oh, you're muted. Wait. David, are you there? Uh-oh.
What happened?
Hmm.
David froze.
Are you all mute?
no.
No, am I mute? I think I'm okay.
Leslie, I hear you. Jim, I hear you.
Can you chat? Put chat to David.
I was hearing a baby crying a second ago.
Oh, that's Joyce's noise machine. Hold on.
Oh, good. Okay.
That's private, David.
So, David, can you hear me? David Sheward, can you hear me? Uh-oh.
David, can you hear me?
I think David's husband is monkeying
Yes,
his
I
legs
He
again.
doesn't
Yes,
know
I
because
can.
I can
I
hear
can hear you.
everyone.
We hear you now. We're good. Okay, so we hit the number 6. Leslie, I'm going to read the question again for you. So you
Just
get-
read me the 4 choices. Just read me the 4 choices, David.
Well, what is not true about The Price is Right? The host's long, skinny microphone was designed so that original host Bill Cullen wouldn't have his chin blocked by the mic. When the show first started, home viewers could win prizes by mailing in their guesses on postcards, or a contestant once won a 2-year-old horse.
So we have to pick the not true out of those
Not
3.
true.
I'm going to say the microphone one.
The microphone for Bill Cullen.
Yeah, I'm going to. I know Alec Baldwin loves that microphone. It's the only reason he took the job on that on Tell the Truth.
So,
Matt,
Leslie, is that going to be?
I'm going to say that's not the right. That's
Oh,
not what.
yeah, in other words, that is the answer. It's the one thing that is not true about.
Yes,
The Price is Right.
it's a very convoluted question.
I know. Well, Leslie, microphone home, you got it correct. That was not the reason that they had, you know, the reason they used the long skinny mic is kind of cool. They realized that contestants on The Price is Right have never been on TV before. And there's just so much going on. They didn't want them to be intimidated by one of these giant NBC or CBS microphones coming in their face. So they figured this very skinny long microphone will be less intimidating coming at someone who's like, I'm on TV.
Oh, that's interesting.
That was actually nothing to do with Bill Cullen or his limp or his vanity or any of that. So there you go. But Leslie, oh my gosh, Leslie, with 8 points.
Wow.
I think she won.
Well, yeah, we keep asking the questions anyway. I think David can still potential. We'll see.
Just to pull a Dr. Sue and ask for more points.
Well,
David,
wait
get a
a
question.
minute now. Whose turn was that? Was Jim's turn, and I got to. Okay, all right. So we're
Now it's my turn.
Okay.
So
Just
yeah,
trying to follow.
8th question, and we go back to David. And by the way, the score is Leslie 8, Jim 4, and David 2. So let's see.
Oh, here. This is embarrassing, but okay. Keep going.
That's not embarrassing at all. My life is embarrassing, not this. 1923 was the year.
Yes.
Born the same day, same date, same year as Bob Barker
Mhm.
is, I have to tell you his first name. Hold on one moment, please. I made a very dumb boo-boo.
By the way, every time you asked that question, I heard when you said birth is right, I definitely heard birthright. And I thought,
So now, I think Jim gets extra points for mentioning birthright.
Yes.
just for thinking that, yeah, I think I get some extra.
Well done, well done. All right, I've done it. So, born the same day as Bob Barker is Bob Dorough, a jazz musician and producer who collaborated with such diverse artists as Mel Torme and Nellie McKay. He also created and directed everyone's favorite educational musical series, Schoolhouse Rock.
Oh, okay. All
The
right.
first series was Multiplication Rock, while the beloved second series was all about grammar. Which of these was not a song from the 9 episodes of Grammar?
Oh,
Grammar Rock. Okay.
There we go.
oh.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Was it, it's multiple choice, unpack your adjectives, a noun is a person, place, or thing, busy prepositions, golly, 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 get your adverbs here.
Okay. Number 2 and number 4 were real songs. But I thought it was lolly, not golly, because the premise was it was these 3 generations of a store that sold adverbs. And it was father, son, and lolly, get your adverbs here, get your adverbs here. And so the second one that I said, what the second one was what?
I'll read the 4 again. I'll read the 4.
Okay.
The 4 choices. It's unpack your adjectives. A noun is a person, place, or thing. Busy prepositions. Golly, 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 get your adverbs here.
Okay. A noun is a person, place, or thing. That definitely is one. And number 4 definitely was one. I find it quite interesting. A noun's a person, place, or thing. Oh, I took a train to another state. And da 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 da. Now he barks at Mrs. Jones. Mrs. Jones has a dog and something. All right. Okay. So 2 and 4 are definitely real songs. So it's either busy prepositions or something about adjectives.
Unpack your adjectives.
Unpack your adjectives. Now let me see. Adjectives. An adjective describes a noun, and prepositions are like. So it's busy prepositions or unpack your adjectives. I don't remember the adjective one. Busy prepositions. It's one of those 2. I'm trying to visualize the cartoon. There's conjunction. I remember conjunction junction. It's too bad you didn't have that one in there. Conjunction junction. What's your
a little too?
Yeah,
everybody knows conjunction.
Sung by Jackson. And
by the way, it's still 2020 while David is.
All right, busy prepositions.
Is that your final answer?
Blossom Dearie also sang for Multiplication Rock, but anyway.
There's a bit of trivia for you, but your answer is, which is it?
Busy prepositions.
Letter C. I'm afraid you needed a different proposal, David. That is not the correct answer. I'm sorry.
Oh, and I gave the right answer away then. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, anyway, we get to roll the die. Let's see. And the die comes up number 2. So that is closer to David's number 1. So David, you get to make number 2 for us. I'm not David. I'm sorry, Jim.
Right.
I was thinking of the joke and I blew the.
I'll make it fast. I think it's unpack your adjectives because unpack is such a contemporary term for things. You know, I wouldn't think that was it.
So you're saying unpack your adjectives.
Yeah.
And besides which, he gave you all the other answers, so you know that's the only one left.
I wasn't really paying attention. I was thinking about something else at the time.
That's okay.
Just kidding.
Well, speaking of adjectives, Jim, that should have been a perfect answer.
But it wasn't.
It's not. That is not the correct answer.
Wait a minute.
Leslie, you get to steal.
Oh. I get it
I
now.
believe David. David, you're so persuasive. I believed everything you said. Now I have to go back and. Okay, you said you're so sure that 2 and 4. I was
If you were
expecting
listening
to
to what I
sing them.
said, if you were listening to what I said, you'll get what the answer is. But go ahead. I think she's frozen.
David, I figured I was so far away from hearing. You got to go one more time.
Oh, yeah, I will.
David Sheward guessed the. Wait.
I'll read the 2 that are left.
Just guessed the adjectives. That was wrong. David Sheward guessed the prepositions.
I'm not telling you.
This rule.
This is making great for the teams help each other. I'm not doing
My
that.
there wasn't any help at all. He wasn't listening.
I'm not helping
either,
you.
So. Read it one more time, real quick, please. Just the answer.
Bob Dura.
Adjectives.
Yeah, the choices are, I'll read all 4 of them again. Unpack your adjectives. A noun is a person, place, or thing. Busy prepositions. Golly, 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 get your adverbs here.
Okay, so he sang that one song. So it has to be the second one.
Which is?
That's all that's left. No, that's all that's left out of all the things, the singing and the prancing and all of it. That's all that's left that hasn't been guessed.
So you're saying it's letter B? A noun
is a person, place, or thing.
Is that your final answer? That's B. That is letter B. Yeah.
Okay.
No! No!
David goes and sings that stupid song, and I believe it.
Wow.
Well, I can explain. The correct answer is B. Because it's not golly, 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 get your adverbs here. It's lolly, 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 get your adverbs
I
here.
heard you say that, but none of it made any sense to me, so I didn't.
Good to know, Leslie.
It's lolly, 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 get your adverbs here. Lolly, get your adverbs here.
Yeah. And by the way, you were right about Blossom Dearie. She sang a number of the songs in there, as did Bob Dura, who wrote a bunch of the songs. But did you know, I'm sure you did, who wrote, who did write a noun as a person, place, or thing, and also the classic interjections?
Carole King.
Person.
Carole King?
No, good guess. This is not for points or anything, but it's one of the first assignments that she had before she became a very well-known writer for Broadway.
Mary Rogers?
Another great guess, but no.
There aren't a lot of female, lyricist or a composer?
She would be. This is a good question. I believe she is the lyricist. I could be totally wrong.
Not Lynn Ahrens. It
is Lynn Ahrens.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Lynn Ahrens. She wrote a noun is a person, place, or thing, and like a dozen or so other songs from all the Schoolhouse Rock stuff. One of her first big things.
You see, David Sheward, if you were playing correctly, you would have wheedled an extra half a point for that. But you didn't ask, so you
I ain't
can't
no
ask.
Dr. Sue.
Interesting. He might get 3/4 of a point, but it took you a while to get to Lynn Ahrens. So, and then you said not Lynn Ahrens.
I'm not a Dr. Sue. I'm not going to beg for points. I have my pride.
You are the only one in this room who does. You show up in this program, David. You have no. You really.
Right, exactly.
All right, well, to our ninth question. By the way, the game is already, I think, out of the park, but we're just.
Is it over? Is the game over? Are we there yet?
I'm sorry?
Are we there yet?
You've already won, but you get to add to your score if you want to.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I love to do that. Go ahead.
Like Donald Trump, we fight to the bitter end.
That's right.
Never concede. Never concede.
Like,
Never
did you ever play the bitter end?
That was the one place I didn't play. I think I played everywhere else on that street except for the.
I think they just talked about the fact that it was going to go under.
Oh no! Really? Well, the 21 Club is going under. That's going.
Well, yeah, I know, but
I don't know why they can't just put it in half and make it.
You know where I played on the street was Kenny's Castaways.
Okay.
It was the place that I played.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I remember that.
I'm an NYU grad, so I pass by all of them every single day. You know.
Yeah.
I missed the bottom line. That was
Bag it in.
That's where I went. Yeah.
Yep. Do you, Jim, I'm not sure. I can't see you except as a postage stamp. So I don't know. Do you happen to know a guy by the name of Hogan, Jonathan Hogan?
The actor?
That sounds vaguely familiar, but I don't.
He plays the Bag It In a lot. He's a guitarist. I directed his cabaret show, but he really
Oh,
just
cool.
goes down there to play. He loves to sing his stuff.
You know who there's I think video footage of playing at the Bag It In is Lady Gaga before she was
Oh,
Lady Gaga
Really? Wow.
Wow.
when she was a
Wow.
songwriter just doing her thing.
Cool. By the way, is that the same Jonathan Hogan who was the actor who's been on Off-Broadway?
Yes,
Oh, he's now doing
yes.
music? I didn't know that.
No. Jonathan has always gone to the Bag It In like once a week. They've got a spot for him, and he does his. He's a singer-songwriter. He wrote the music for one of Lanford Wilson's plays on Broadway. And he.
That's it. Well, no, that's right.
And when I heard some of his stuff, I had a talk with him. I've known him for years. We were at Circle Rep together. So I asked him if he was interested in doing a show, and he went, cabaret, no, can't do that.
Oh.
He said, I got to have a beer in my hand. So he came out to do the show with a beer in his hand.
If it's
And
the
it was
same,
great.
Yeah.
Jonathan Hogan.
If it's the same Jonathan Hogan, I just saw him in the Woody Allen film that was not released in the U.S.
Oh, right, probably. Yeah, but he's still working.
Timothy Chalamet's father.
Okay, I haven't seen that, but he you know Jonathan's in everything. He was playing at the Mint recently. He does everything.
I was watching him 30 years ago in theater.
Yeah.
I remember him.
Yeah.
Well, he was a young guy then. Now he's an older guy, But
So
he
are we
still
all.
writes and sings, and he's got a very intriguing. It's not exactly Tom Lehrer. It's a little more romantic than Tom Lehrer, but it's.
What can be more romantic than cutting off a woman's hand and keeping it and kissing it while you're in the
Absolutely.
institution? That's the most romantic music gets for me, Leslie.
Or mathematicians. Yes, go ahead.
We have our 9th question, and you get to get 2 more points if you get it right, Leslie Blake.
As long as you don't take any points away, I'm happy to try.
No, I would never do that. 1946 was the year Happy Birthday Tide detergent, introduced by Procter & Gamble. Which of the following is true about Tide? Its first advertising slogan was "So many suds." B, unlike the orange, white, and blue colors we see on bottles today, a box of Tide soap used to be just black letters on white. C, a few years ago, thieves were stealing Tide jugs from supermarkets to trade for crack.
Oh, yeah.
Or D, Barry Manilow wrote 3 different jingles for Tide detergent, all of them rejected. So here's the question again. It's 1946, Tide detergent comes out by Procter & Gamble. Which of these is actually true? One of these is true.
Oh, which is true and the rest are lies.
The rest are lies. Which of these is true?
Reverse to the other one.
Usually I do it reverse, but this is 3 lies, 1 truth. Is it the first advertising slogan was "So many suds"? Is it, unlike the orange, white, and blue colors we see on bottles today, a box of Tide soap used to be just black and white, black letters on white? Was it, a few years ago, thieves were stealing Tide jugs from supermarkets to trade for crack? Or was it Barry Manilow wrote 3 different jingles for Tide detergent, all of them rejected? Which of these is true, Leslie Blake?
I would think that, knowing my own relationship to Tide over the years,
Okay.
and I would have said the first ad would have been, that's a soap, but that didn't happen. So I'm going to think that it's the black and white box. I can't imagine any kind of black and white advertising in 1946.
So you're saying that the black and white box was true? That it was.
Oh no! I have to give you 1 true and 3 false. No,
Hey,
I'm
you haven't
sorry.
been listening.
I'm sorry. 1 true, 3 false. No, I try to listen, but he changes the rules all the time.
Well, yeah, this is
1 true. I'm sorry. Okay,
It's
thank
1
you for
true.
stopping me. Okay, I would think that so many suds probably was the.
that's the truth.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe.
That the first advertising slogan for Tide, so many suds.
Oh.
I'm afraid the Tide rolled out for you, Leslie Hoban Blake. That is not true, although in their advertising they have used suds back in, but that was not ever one of their actual advertising slogans. So you guys get to steal. I'm gonna roll a die. It came up 6. Leslie did not get to go again. But
Yes, I get to go again. I get another chance.
No.
I want another chance. Give me a chance.
I'm sorry.
Dr. Sue had an annoying bear too.
Yeah. Oh, man. We're all piling on poor Dr. Sue today.
Dr. Sue
She's
was
probably
great.
listening. She's very nice. She was
Dr.
fun.
Sue was great.
I will remember that, David. I will find a place to use that against you. Trust me.
Leslie, you
never
didn't even
forget.
show up last week, so you can make fun. All right, here we go. The die, we rolled the die, and it came up number 1, which is David Sheward. So, David,
Which of these is true?
Which of these is true? I can read them again if you like. About Tide detergent. First advertising slogan was so many suds.
Okay.
Unlike the orange, white, and blue colors we see on bottles today, a box of Tide soap used to be just black letters on white. Is it a few years ago thieves were stealing Tide jugs from supermarkets to trade for crack? Or Barry Manilow wrote 3 different jingles for Tide detergent, all of them rejected?
I think it's the with the crackheads, because there was this thing, this fad recently where people were ingesting Tide Pods, and it was like a whole, one of these stupid things that they do. So I'm going to go with that they were stealing it to trade for crack.
You're really going to go with that one, are you?
I'm going to say that's true. Why not? What have I got to lose?
Well, that was a very wise crack on your part, David Sheward. Well done. There was actually, this had nothing to do with the Tide Pod thing. This is back in 2013, a story in New York Magazine that they take detergent really seriously in the hood. So gangs of criminals would go into supermarkets, steal Tide, and then for like $5 worth of crack or $10 worth of crack on the streets, they would check the detergent. Honest to God.
Where did you have to go, David Lefkowitz, to get the information for this question? Where the hell did you have to go to get this information?
Internet.
New York Magazine.
Like Robert Johnson, I have a deal with the devil. He's a trivia devil.
Right.
He went to 8th Avenue in the 90s.
Yeah.
Right.
He got his
goes
time
to the
machine.
crossroads, and there it is. Okay.
Well, but well done. That question did end up going to David Sheward. So yeah, you picked up 2 more points, and we can do 1 more question, just for funsies again. And this is going to be our tiebreaker, but there's no tie.
Well, wait, does that go to me, or does it just go to anybody?
Or go to Jim.
We can do like a random thing. If you have a piece of paper, maybe you can write down the answer and show
So
it.
what's the score as
okay.
it stands now?
All right, just a minute.
What's the score now?
Oh, I mean, the score is Leslie has 8, David has 4, Jim has 4. So Leslie, you won. You won the game like 2 questions ago. This is again just for fun. But what we're gonna do, I don't know if you have a piece of paper or whatever, but when I call out, like I'll do a 3, 2, 1 countdown, and you can all show your answers to this very last.
Oh wait, I don't have.
Jim, you can call it out if you don't have a pen.
Yeah, I've got
Yeah.
piece of paper right here.
Fantastic.
Something.
Wait,
So this
wait,
way, you can all answer at the same time when I do 3, 2, 1, and we can see
Okay.
you're right. And then a couple of you can get this one right, so you can all get points on it. Tell me when you guys are ready.
I'm ready.
Getting pen and paper.
Okay.
It's not like Jeopardy. We don't have to do it like what is.
No,
Okay.
it doesn't have to be in the form of a question.
Okay, it does not. Okay.
You can phrase it in the form of a preposition if you so choose.
Yeah.
So just letting you know. Here comes the question. Final question in our Today Yesterday quiz today. The year 1957. A GE chemist invented borazon, a compound of boron and nitrogen that is really special. Why? And this is a multiple choice. It's 18% harder than a diamond. It's now used in the treatment of liver disease, including cirrhosis. During a copper shortage, it was used in American pennies. Because of expense, it hasn't been manufactured since 1977. Okay? I'll read that one more time, and then you can hold up A, B, C, or D, or whichever answer it is, but don't show them yet. 1957 was the year. General Electric chemist invented borazon, a compound of boron and nitrogen. And it's very special. Why? Is it A, 18% harder than a diamond? B, it's now used in the treatment of liver disease, including cirrhosis. C, during a copper shortage, it was used in American pennies. Or D, because of the expense, it hasn't been manufactured since 1977. So take your time to write your answers, and then I'll give a countdown, 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
And after I say 1, you hold up your pieces of paper. So
All right.
some nods when you guys are ready.
I'm ready.
All right.
Leslie, ready? I see ready. Okay. So 3, 2, 1, go. All right. I see a B from. Keep holding them. Keep holding. I see 2 B's or not 2 B's, and Leslie has the A. Ladies and gentlemen, the answer is, as Fonzie would say, Leslie, A.
Oh, that's
18%
fitting.
harder than
You would
diamond.
just
Yeah.
demolish us in the end. That's good.
They're still manufactured. All the other stuff is not true at all. But it is 18% harder than diamond. And more importantly, or as importantly, that means it can withstand much, much higher, hotter temperatures than stuff like steel and iron and diamond even. And
Interesting.
Yeah.
And you don't have to enslave people to mine it either.
Or you could, if you wanted to. I guess you could. the Borazon miners of
Right.
you know, South Africa.
Whatever.
Like, oh, I'm carrying the boron. Everything. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching the Today, Yesterday quiz with me, Dave Lefkowitz, and I gotta introduce myself first. That's my ego. But first of all, thank you so much to Leslie Hoban Blake. Remember that you can hear her and Charlie Gross do their podcast called Critics Circle. How can people find it, and what's your latest episode?
Well, we called it a podcast, but it's really a vidcast. It's on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I intended to do it as a podcast, and somehow it wound up being with video. So it's on YouTube, and it's on MNN. It sort of took the spot from Two on the Aisle.
So, and what's like the most recent episode? What do you do on it?
We just had an interview out from Paper Mill Playhouse. Really nice. We did an in memoriam for Nick Cordero.
Oh, right, yeah. His wife got hired for something. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, I feel bad for her. She's been writing his death so well. You know, but what did she get hired for? Something. I forget what it was.
Burlesque theater.
Yeah. So, David Sheward, let's remind people the 3 places that they can read your writing. Besides buying your book about George C. Scott, they can read you at thedaviddesk.com, theaterlife.com, and culturalweekly.com.
Right.
You gotta get them all.
Yes, we got them all.
Yay. So read David Sheward by all means. And Jim, where can people, I'm sorry, I don't think the Rabbi ever gave out your website, which is jimknable.com, JIM. KNABLE, Jim Knable. And by the way, I apologize. Every time I've mentioned you over the past like 15 years, I had your name as Knabley.
I know.
Pronounce it like that? Or?
No, never. And you're the first person who's ever done that. I've heard other things like Knable.
Yeah,
so I
apologize. It's Knable.
That's, you said it right every single time today, and I've loved
it.
Well,
thank you. Can people get the new Randy Bandits album at your website?
Absolutely. You can find it on the website. You can find it on Spotify, iTunes, Apple, Bandcamp, anywhere where they sell things or stream things. It's Amazon.
The current Randy Bandits album, which is called
Blue Reunion.
Blue Reunion, and also the previous Green, Yellow, Fuchsia.
You got Redbeard, you got Golden Arrow, you got everything. Even my so the Jubidor, I put out a little unorthodox demos for the Jubidor. So if you're into those songs, including Holocaust Survivor, Beauty Pageant, Cutie Pie, is a kind of lo-fi recording of those. The Randy Bandits album are more like studio albums, so they're a little fancier sounding, but depends on your taste.
Well, Jim, it has been absolutely terrific having you as a guest on the Deb. I'd kind of also like to, I don't know about next week, but I would like to invite you back to play the trivia game if you're ever free on a Saturday morning again, because I thought this was a really good group.
I think
it was totally fun.
The best of any
guests. By far the best, Jim. Very, very much so.
Thank you. I think I got lucky twice.
No disrespect to Vince Giordano and
Dr. Sue.
Dr. Sue or the other players that we've had on this game. A lot of you guys have been great, but Jim, yeah, you've been really a marvelous contestant, and you've all been great contestants. Thank you. Stay healthy. Happy Hanukkah to you, Jim, and half of you, Jim, not the other half.
I'll take it.
Half of Leslie. Happy. Happy.
Jim.
Supreme.
Jim, are you happy? Jim, are you happy too? Also.
Yes, my father's half.
Yeah, my father's half also. My mother was Catholic, right?
So
So
you're
together we're nothing.
Oh,
That's right, exactly.
Yeah.
a quarter.
You know, I
Except
don't know
when I
about.
was a little girl. When I was a little girl and I read about Anne Frank, I thought, oh, geez, it doesn't matter. I would still go, you know. So
Right. Except for that, and if they actually send people away in trains to kill them, then we'd count. So that's
exactly.
Yeah.
one of
So
the
I
bonuses.
I
Yeah.
grew up with that sense of belonging, you know.
Right.
So you're a quarter.
No, my
there's
son
a
is
girl on the
quarter.
end of that, right? Yeah. Yeah. Just
I'm half. My son is a quarter, but he
Oh.
married a Jewish girl, so I don't know what that does.
Oh.
it brings him back into the fold.
Yeah.
Leslie.
Their
Back in the
children.
fold, right?
Their
I think it
children
makes you
do that.
Catholic now.
So
Pardon?
actually, Jim, I have to ask: did you ever do anything, or do you know about another guy, another musician named Sean Altman, who does a thing called Jumongous?
No, I mean
You have to check it
that
out.
was the most Jewish thing I ever did was the Jubidor thing. That
Well,
was
that's
like
pretty damn
a
Jewish.
one-off. Yeah,
Well,
seriously.
No, but you should check him out because Sean he used to be in the group called Rockapella. And
Oh,
he
yeah.
written some other
Rockapella I
songs
know about,
like that. As a solo artist, he has a whole separate project called Jumongous. And his songs are very funny and very,
Cool.
not as dark, perhaps, as Holocaust beauty pageant survivor
Yeah.
song.
Katie Pie. Yeah.
But can anything be? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining our Today Yesterday quiz on This Day Has Gone By. I'm going to let you all go. Have a great week. Have a healthy week. Happy holidays to you. And see you guys soon.
Happy Hanukkah to you, Dave.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, Leslie.
And
Bye-bye,
And
guys.
Joyce.
Happy.
And
Thanks for
Joyce,
having
not
me.
to leave
Great to
anybody
meet
out.
you guys.
Thank you. Bye
See you
bye.
next time, Dave.
Bye-bye.
Nice playing.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Yeah, I'm just taking you guys out. Oh, bye now. And we're back with a bit more of the Dave's Gone By Facebookio, Podcastio, Programmio of the stream here on this Saturday, December 12th, 2020. I'm Dave Lefkowitz. I'm here with my amazing wife, Joyce, who always helps so much with the Facebook watch party and getting the names of people. Oh my God, look at all those names. Let me grab them. Oh my goodness. Ooh. So check it out. We mentioned a few names an hour or two ago, but let's add some more. There's Jim and Chris and Stephen and Elliot, Mark B, Tim, Trevor, yay, Trevor from my old radio station, June, and Louisanne, oh my God, Joyce's cousin, and Beaker, oh my goodness. Anne and Lisa, Robert, James, Harold, Gareth, Zachary, Jimmy, Larry, Rick Z, Lisa H, Richard S, Barry, Sherry, VJ, P Channel, Warhol again, David P.
AP channels, actors channels.
Oh, AP channels, yeah, they're tuning in. David P, Sandy, Robert, Hannah, Diane, Ilyana, Brent and Trisha, Michael, Robert, David A, Bob T, Rob Z, Robert J, Mark G, Dennis, was it Mark Z, excuse me. Daphne, Rachel, Rick, Ron, Nick, and Irina. Welcome, welcome, welcome to so many of you who are tuning in, not just today, I hope, but every Saturday from 9 until noon or thereabouts for Dave's Gone By. This is our 776th episode of the show. We've been calling it Willing and Knable in honor of our delightful guest, Jim Knable, who was just with us playing the Today Yesterday quiz game. Whew, let's see. Should we? It's just about noon. Should we save the potato news, or should we do the potato news?
It's up to you, baby. Do you have energy?
Oh, I got. Yeah, you got the energy, Daddy. Okay. Do it, Daddy. Do it. Do it. All right. All right. It will just take me a moment, folks, in order to see. We goof on the news. We goof on current events. We used to do a segment called The News Gone By, but for potatoes' sake, every once in a while, they like to hear news about themselves. And that is why we do Potato News. You say potato, I say potato. Let's call the whole thing Potato News. Good morning. This is Spudward R. Murrow with the Potato News for this December 12th, 2020. We have a, we must start, unfortunately, with a warning. Fresh House LLC, based in Salisbury, North Carolina, is recalling various brands of oranges, lemons, limes, and red bee potatoes. The voluntary recall, due to potential listeria contamination, followed a routine internal inspection that found the bacteria on equipment in the packing facility. The products being recalled can be identified by the brand, UPC number, and tag number on the bag, so get your pencils out. Wholesale bulk red potatoes sold in 50-pound mesh bags. Shipper's reference number, thank you, 1187098, 320873, 320992, 2182424. What? You get? I will repeat. 1187098, 320873, 320992, 2184424. I missed that last one. 1187098, 320873, 320992, or 2182424. If you come across that bag of potatoes, please bring it to your supermarket without delay. Our next story comes from creativeboom.com, written by Emily Gosling. Branding, ladies and gentlemen, branding. Design studio Shop Talk has created a new online platform for Heinz, a brand refresh for the 150-year-old company. Shop Talk previously did the same for the Heinz sub-brand Bullseye. Now they're making sure the Heinz umbrella encompasses their beans, that's beans with a Z, pasta, sauces, soups, and more than 5,700 company products. Shop Talk's approach focused on immersive interactive designs, connecting customers with products by using visuals that show how Heinz is used rather than just static images. The new websites include recipe forums, news updates, and other incentives, says Shop Talk co-founder Paul Ferry, quote, Heinz has such a strong brand presence, we wanted to shine a light on it rather than reinvent it. As a brand, it is always open, honest, and reliable. And delicious. No editorializing, Potato, this is the news. Sorry. Creating from Business Insider India. Although this is a story about the Netherlands. India's insider visited the Heinz tomato ketchup factory in Elst, Netherlands, where 1.8 million bottles are made. Ketchup is one of the world's most popular condiments, and Heinz is the market leader, selling over 650 million bottles worldwide every year. Says Daniela Tra, process manager, here in Elst, we make sauces for the Kraft Heinz company. Our main product is, drumroll, ketchup. That's 70% of what we do. 175,000 tons of ketchup. Says the narrator of this little film, the ketchup making process starts here, where crates of tomato paste are transported from the Heinz warehouse using automated forklifts. The paste then goes into the paste dumper, where huge rolling pins squeeze the paste out of the package. Oh, God, this is like porn. Shh. After the paste has been extracted, it sits in the storage bin and is mixed with water for a smoother consistency. Then it's put in a storage tank before moving on to the ketchup kitchen. Daniela Tra continues, ketchup is made up of 5 ingredients: brine, vinegar, sugar, tomato paste, and secret spices, which is actually more than 1 ingredient, but we'll go with it. After we fill the bottles with ketchup, we put a capper on it and the 3 labels for the neck, front, and back. Then comes the tray packer, shrink wrapped so the bottles are packed in tight and ready to go. I need a cigarette. I know, Potato. I know. Ladies and gentlemen, let us now have a little bit of history time here on Potato News. This comes from littlepotatoes.com. On this historical day, it behooves us to remember the history of the greatest vegetable in the history of edibles, the potato. Of course, the tater was first cultivated by the Incas of Peru, with evidence of potato planting going back before 400 BCE. Back then, potatoes were long and gnarly, like baby fingerlings. We don't go to those sides of the tracks. The Incans could store their potatoes by dehydrating and mashing them. In their great reverence for potatoes, the Incans thought they made childbirth easier and even used them to treat injuries. Then in 1532, conquistadors from Spain, not the Randy Bandits album Spain, but actual Spain, brought potatoes back to Europe. For a while, many people were incredibly suspicious of potatoes because they resembled poisonous nightshade plants. Some folks even thought potatoes were made by witches. But then merchants and explorers realized how long potatoes could be stored on voyages, and European rulers wanted their subjects to eat potatoes since they were cheap and easy to grow. The potatoes, not the subjects. Still, for a time, potatoes were fed only to animals. Then Frederick the Great came along, who was really great. This is a Frederick the Great idea. He planted a royal field of potatoes and placed a heavy guard around it. Now people got curious and assumed anything worth guarding like that was worth stealing. So they stole the potato plants, planted them in their own yards, and voila! Or, as the English would say, Bob's your uncle. The French rulers spread the potato love by wearing potato blossoms, Louis XVI and Marie purple flowers, again helping turn public perceptions potato-y. In 1620, a British governor brought potato plants to the colonies, but they didn't become popular until Thomas Jefferson served them up at a White House dinner. In Ireland, the population boomed because the potato was so delicious and so plentiful. Growers started breeding taters bigger so they feed more people, and hence the russet variety was born. By the 1900s, everyone everywhere realized the value of the unhumble potato, which supplies every vital nutrient except calcium, vitamin A, and vitamin D. The Little Potato Company closes its magnificent treatise by noting that their variety feels closer to the original spuds of the Andes. Their motto, "Save the potato," to which we all at Potato News say, huzzah! It's time for the weekly potato drawing. Here are the numbers. The Lord of the Rings, 186,000, 0, 00, the Ring of the Lords, umlaut. I'll read those again. Lord of the Rings, 186,000, 0, 00, Ring of the Lords, and umlaut. Weather, warm and sunny is how it feels. Wear your hats and hide your peels. This has been Spudward R. Murrow with the Potato News. Good night and good growth. You say potato, I say potato. Let's call the whole thing Potato News. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, what an interesting show it's been. We've had trivia. I
can't believe that Dave S was overthrown and he's no longer the undefeated champion of the quiz.
Oh, I know.
That was an upset.
Not only was it, I mean, with all respect to David Sheward, he was beaten today, not only by Leslie, but by Jim. Oh, no, I don't think we remember, Jim got that first question right off the bat, and that set the tone.
I also put in both places where they could find your archives on davesgoneby.net.
Oh, please, yes.
I put that somebody asked, one of Jim's friends asked, what time he'd be on, and Jim said, watch the show before and after, and I just wrote and said, Jim Knable, if you missed it, here's the link. Yeah.
All the shows, everything we've got is on davesgoneby.net, or you can even go to davesgoneby.com. So if you want to watch last week's show, it's up there. If you want to watch a show from 2 months ago, it's up there. If you want to hear the Randy Bandit's appearance on Dave's Gone By back in, I guess it was 2006, just go to davesgoneby.com and search for Knable or Randy Bandits. It's there. Now, the one in 2006 was just audio. It was on the radio, but it's there and it's free. You can listen to every show just about that we have ever done and every interview that we've ever done, every skit, every musical bit. It's all there. Thousands, it's amazing, but thousands of hours now of Dave's Gone By comedy, culture.
It was on March 19th.
March 19th of 2006, the Randy Bandits were on the Dave's Gone By show. So it's not lost to history. You can hear it. And it's just like you're hearing me right now. It's all there at davesgoneby.com. Plus, it's also there at archive.org. Yeah. And it's also there at, the audio is at castbox.fm. And we put a lot of our stuff on YouTube as well. I forgot to mention that Dave's Gone By has a YouTube channel. So we try and disseminate, we try and get our stuff out there as much as possible. We want everybody watching. We want everybody listening and enjoying. What I don't care if you enjoy, just as long as you listen. Just as long as you tune in and you hear me every Saturday from 9 until noon, or if you can't listen to me live, then catch me on the website, davesgoneby.com. Check out the Twitter feed, Radio Dave 2, and also, oh, let's not forget, I haven't even mentioned Rabbi Saul Solomon, who did the interview with Jim Knable. Rabbi Saul has his website, shalomdammit.com. Haven't updated it in a while. I've got to do that for him soon, but it's Shalom Dammit, D-A-M-M-I-T, shalomdammit.com. And this is the place where you can read and hear his rabbinical reflections. Those are his mini sermons. This is also the place where you can watch his stage show called Shalom Dammit, and you can watch his really hilarious 10 episodes of the Long Island cable TV show he did about 14, 15 years ago. It's all there at shalomdammit.com. Do check that out. Well, you know, the Rabbi was on the very first episode that we ever did. Jim Knable was on that show back in 2006. David Sheward has been on the show first as a theater critic for a bunch of times, and now he's with us pretty much every week doing the Today, Yesterday quiz. Leslie Hoban Blake, also a theater critic, a longtime friend of the Daverhood. These are people who have been on the show, and sometimes they come back. Even if they don't, they're considered friends and family. We like to keep tabs on them. We like to know what they're up to and what they're doing. And we do that in a segment that we like to call the Friends of the Daverhood. So I want to let you know about a few of our friends. For example, the singer-songwriter Eliza Gilkison has a new video out. It's for the song Promises to Keep that is coming from the album that she just put out this year. You can find it on YouTube. Remember, that's Eliza Gilkison, Gilkyson. Evan Seplow. Haven't heard from him in so long, but he's been busy. He has been filming the zombie comedy Trumpocalypse, which has a role there for our other friend of the Daverhood, Dave J., aka David J. Gerstein. He is, if you know him, he's the guy who wrote and sings our outro theme. Dave's gone by, there it goes. That was Dave J. So he's acting in a little movie that Evan Seplow has been directing. Yay. Charles Bush, the fine playwright and actor and female impersonator sometimes, Charles Bush wrote a column for the Transport Group about his appearing in a one-night Peter Pan for the company a few years back. It's a very nice article, and you can read it at transportgroup.org. Congratulations to Jeff Harner on being nominated for 2 Broadway World Cabaret Awards. Yay. And playing now through December 20th, so we got a week and a half on that, it's the Hanukkah Celebration of Light featuring Zalman Latek and Eleanor Risa. You can watch it and enjoy it on stage at Kingsborough.org. On stage at Kingsborough, Boroughh. On stage at Kingsborough.org. Want to let you know that now, through the 17th of December, You can play, it's sort of a mix between theater and interactive sport. It's Edward Einhorn's personalized How to Play Dreidel with Judah Maccabee. You can find that at untitledtheater.com. Want to let you know that now through the 21st, Irish Repertory Theater is doing a virtual version of Meet Me in St. Louis featuring our friend of the neighborhood, Melissa Errico. David Mandelbaum has adapted the Yiddish play The Dybbuk for New Yiddish Rep, and it features himself and his wife, Amy Coleman, another friend of the neighborhood. That is happening now through December 13th. Playing from the 12th through the 15th, our friend Judy Collins, one of those famous people ever to appear on the show. Judy Collins filmed a show that she did at Town Hall in New York, and they're making that available to raise money for Town Hall. It's $40 a ticket, and you can watch it at thetownhall.org. Our friend, writer, and performer Michelle LaRue on the 12th of December. You can watch her in The Gift of the Magi at metropolitanplayhouse.org. Tanya Pinkins on December 14th. She will be taking part in the Stars in the House Super Shaw benefit for the Actors Fund. Stars in the House is, of course, co-founded by our friend of the neighborhood and my high school alumnus, Seth Rudetsky. Let's see, Karen Akers. I haven't heard from her in a while. She is part of Urban Stages' Winter Rhythms Cabaret series. That is happening on December 15th. Let's see, and then also on December 15th, Alan Lewis Rickman is adapting, this is interesting. This is a totally different thing. Our other friend of the neighborhood, Alan Lewis Rickman, is also adapting The Dybbuk. And that one will star our other friend, Mike Burston. It's being done by the Congress for Jewish Culture, and that will be available on YouTube happening on December 15th. Again on December 15th, J.O. Sanders and the cast of A Girl from the North Country are reuniting for a Facebook event. Let's see, New York Theater Workshop is doing its Holiday Follies, which will feature, among others, Daphne Rubin Vega, nytw.org. Again, all of that happening on December 15th. On December 18th, it's the Christmas at Birdland concert with Jim Caruso and featuring appearance by, I don't know if she's 91 or 92 years old, but Marilyn May. That is happening on December 18th. We'll remind you that Eric Comstock and Barbara Fasano are posting many duets of cabaret songs on their YouTube page. And they're also, I believe, at Birdland. Birdland's opening like once a week or something like that. They have been. Whether they will after Monday, I don't know. Because Comstock and Fasano did a live performance distanced at Birdland a week or so ago. Whether they will get to do that, I just check with them. Check their YouTube page, Eric Comstock and Barbara Fasano. They also have a Facebook page. And then Seth Lowe, we mentioned him. He is the editor of StageBuddy.com, DrDemento.com for new and old Dr. Demento shows, SoundsOfBroadway.com, founded by Stuart Brown for 24/7 of show tunes and theater music. And finally, of course, our great friend Bob Cudmore, BobCudmore.com for podcasts about upstate New York history. And those, my friends, are the friends of the Daverhood. Oh, that Mozart. So pleasurable to listen to. I wish I could say that our last segment for this episode of Dave's Gone By is something pleasurable and delightful and inspired. But ladies and gentlemen, it is, I dread to tell you, time for the Colorado Limerick of the Damned. This is because Joyce and I lived in northern Colorado for several years. And while there, I got it into my head to start writing short poems about as many towns and cities and counties in Colorado as I possibly could. It started with a couple, then it went to a dozen, then several dozen, and now I'm well on my way to about 150 of these things. They keep on coming, lucky you. So every week we read one of them They are our Colorado Limerick of the damned.
A limerick is a comic verse of 5 lines, in which lines 1, 2, and 5 will end with words that rhyme. And likewise, verses 3 and 4 also end with words that rhyme. So this is a limerick. Rocky Mountain, Colorado.
So every week we go to Colorado and we find another place to do another horrid limerick for. Found one this week. It's Fowler, Colorado. And you couldn't be fouler than that. Fowler, 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 Colorado. It is a statutory town in southeastern Colorado, population of a little over 1,000 people. The town was originally named Oxford, but, and I swear to God, it was named after an ox that got killed crossing the railroad tracks.
Oh.
But they changed the name. They realized, not because there was a disgusting reason to name a town, but because they realized there was already another Oxford in Colorado. Kind of wish they realized that about Loveland. So instead, they renamed it after a Mr. Fowler. To be precise, Orson Squire Fowler, a renowned New York phrenologist.
Oh boy.
Gets weirder and weirder. Phrenologists, for those of you who know the roots,
Eugenics, they're eugenicists.
yeah, they're people who would feel and touch the shape and the bumps of your head.
Determine who is a criminal.
Yeah, to know who is normal, who is Jewish, not Jewish, criminal. Yeah.
And race.
And the weird part is, he was in New York. He wasn't even there in Colorado, but they named it after a New York phrenologist. Although he and his brother, the two Fowler brothers, make big names for themselves by studying the bumps on people's heads. Anyway, Fowler and pardon me. Sorry. Someone could make a job studying the lumps in my handkerchief. So Fowler has nature trails along the Ohio River. It has historic sites, and it was the location of a Japanese internment camp in World War II. Fun place. Fowler, Colorado. And therefore, we dedicate this week's Colorado Limerick of the Damned, Yahoo, to Fowler, Colorado. Ahem. An unlucky woman from Fowler was trapped in her house by a prowler. She begged for her life, but he grabbed a knife, and oh boy, did he disembowel her. Yeah. Send your comments and complaints to davesgoneby@aol.com, DAVESGONEBY, davesgoneby@aol.com. Follow me, or the show, Radio Dave 2 is the Twitter feed. At some point, I will have the time and energy in my life to start doing Instagram and maybe TikTok, or whatever the hell else is out there. I should still update my MySpace page. Why the hell not? But no. Dave's Gone By, the website, davesgoneby@aol.com, the email address, RadioDave2, the Twitter feed. Well, it just remains for me to thank, first of all, very, very, very much so many people involved through the show. Thank you, Potato, for being so well behaved during Potato News, not to mention all the Latka talk early in the show. Oh, I'm just biding my time. I'm biding my time, you MF. Oh, Potato. Seriously. But thank you for that. Thank you so much to my wonderful wife who is making the noises, who is doing the watch party, who's writing down all the names of people watching the show, just and kind of keeping me on keel and reminding me when I have to record and when I have to hit this or touch that, or somebody is muted or there's an issue. That's Joyce in the background doing all of I used to do this show alone, was incredibly difficult. Having her there, her help setting up the show and getting the show going is a much greater miracle than any miracle of light during Hanukkah. So I really, really thank her for that and send her all my lovin' I will give to you, my darling. You are my 8 lit candles on Hanukkah, lasting not 8 days, but God willing, 80 years with you. So thank you, Joyce. Thank you to Jim Knable. and his band, of course, the Randy Bandits. Get their new album, get all his older albums, read his stuff. If you're a producer out there, you're looking for plays that might work virtually or thinking of things to produce into 2021 or 22, go to his website, jimknable.com, JIMKNABLE.com. Place to find his music, place to find out about his writing and all the other stuff that Jim Knable is up to. And what a fine guest in the dip. Thanks for the music. Thank you also for being such a good contestant on this show. Just really great to have him on this episode that we've named Willing and Knable. But let's not forget Leslie Hoban Blake from Critic Circle. Thank her for being back in the Daverhood this week, as well as David Sheward of thedaviddesk.com. Really appreciate it. Now, I'm hoping Leslie and David will be back next week to play the Today, Yesterday trivia game. And I do hope we'll have Jim back too. But next week, I do want to know, I want to let you know that we have our guest. It's confirmed, and we're very, very excited about this. Theater people should be extremely excited about this. Our guest in the Daverhood, talking to the one, the only, the Jewish Rabbi Sal Solomon, will be the star of Contact on Broadway, star of World Goes, well, one of the, it was an ensemble piece, one of the stars of World Goes Round with Candor and Ebb, and so many other shows on and off Broadway, cabaret as well. Karen Ziemba will be the guest in the Daverhood next week. Very, very excited about that. So yeah, we go from A to Z on the show, and Z being Ziemba, next Saturday, 9 to noon Eastern Time, right here on this Facebook channel, Dave's Gone By. Well, I think we've covered we've covered just about everything except the one last thing I want to mention. And Joyce was as usual unimpressed by my genius thoughts, my amazing idea. And this is just something that occurred to me. And Joyce, maybe you'll be excited now about this. Maybe, I hope so. Under this sweater, right? This lovely Oi to the World sweater that I'm wearing for the holiday. What am I wearing, hon? What is this?
Undershirt.
Undershirt. Undershirt. Under these shorts that I'm wearing, which you cannot see intentionally. You want to wear long pants. Under these shorts that I am wearing while on camera here, or at work, or any time of day when I'm outside the house, what am I wearing, dear?
Underpants.
Underpants. Or, let me pronounce it differently, underpants. Undershirt, underpants. And yet, can someone explain to me, because this has been keeping me up nights. What is this? This is what we call a sock, or if we have two of them there, a pair of socks. But shouldn't it follow, ladies and gentlemen? Wouldn't it make sense if this is an undershirt and I'm wearing also underpants? Trust me, I am. Wouldn't this be an undershoe? Shouldn't these be called undershoes?
Hold on.
Why do they get a special name? This I don't understand. And this bothers me. You know, like a hat would be an overhead, but and we have certainly we have low overhead on this show. But a hat would be overhead, but it doesn't follow the pattern of under this, under that, under that. So it should be undershirt, underpants, undershoes, not socks. Socks. I don't. Does this upset you the way it does me?
I have no feeling about it.
Really? Really? You don't think that it should follow the proper pattern?
No. I think we should ask our friend who is a medieval historian about the origin of the word socks. It might mean something different. I don't know.
It might. It might. Well, maybe I'll do some more research on this, because this kind of thing is important, at least to me, in the Daverhood. Me being Dave Lefkowitz, she being Joyce, and you guys being you. That's the other thank you I want to do. Thank you so much to all of you who tune in, not just this week, but every week. And if I didn't mention your name, please don't be offended. We don't get to see all the names that scroll through of the people who are watching on Facebook. So
Show them the list.
be aware. I mean, I didn't even mention it here. Look at it. This is what Joyce can kind of track and scribble while she's doing 10 other things. So let's mention some of Shelley and Sharon and James and Michael M, Scott, Diana, Stephen, Nick, June. All these people from like the beginning of the show 3.5 hours ago. If you missed parts of the show or want to see parts of it again, remember that, give me about 24 hours and the show will be on davesgoneby.com. It will be on Facebook, watchable in just a couple of minutes, and on YouTube as well, archive.org, castbox.fm. So many ways to be with us in the Daverhood every Saturday from 9 until noon or thereabouts. It remains for me to wish you all a most happy and healthy Hanukkah, happy and healthy week. Don't just have a lot of fun, have a lot of fun. Not funny. And I'm making a list. I'm checking it twice. Oh, I'll get you. Wow, that's a little bit scary there, Potato. But let's go out on a musical note. Rather than playing actually our usual Daverhood theme by Dave J. Gerstein, let's hear a little bit more from Jim Knable. This was recorded, I guess, at some place called Freddie's Back Room, part of a songwriter death match. Doesn't that sound fun? But here's Jim Knable singing a bit to take us out of the Daverhood for this Saturday, December 12th, 2020, and gone by.
Playwright of leisure and songwriter for Love and Money, Jim Knable is a nationally untapped gold mine. Ladies and gentlemen, Jim Knable. These are the first chords of the first song ever sung, about some great big someone in the sky. I sung in a room with some friends come and gone, though I couldn't linger on if I tried. And you were there too, I think that was you, who gave me the strength to be free. And if that's true, I'd have to thank you, but I don't know if that was you, if it was me. I said you won't drag me down through the center of the town, and you won't make me wear a crown of gold. For despite all you've heard, I'm a man of his word, and you won't drag me down that road. Priorities change and dreams rearrange. You reevaluate your old plans. And the struggle between is the struggle I need. For it's there where I see who I am. But you won't drag me down through the center of the town, and you won't make me wear a crown of gold. But despite all you heard, I'm a man of his word, and you won't drag me down that road. I swear to be true, I swear this to you, I swear this to you with a smile. I swear to me, and what will be when we'll be, and we both will be free in a while. But it won't drag me down, it won't drag me down, it won't make me wear a crown of gold. But despite all you heard, I'm the man of his word, and you won't drag me down that road. No, you won't drag me down that road.
I'll see you guys down the road and gone by.